Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the YesterYear Racing League. This evening we're excited to bring you coverage of all the action from iRacing's virtual Pocono, Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania for the crown jewel event of the season, the Race of Champions. Pocono Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing according to the weekly Fast Friday series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside me for tonight's action is Braden Laster with DJ Line working the controls as our producer. For those who don't know, the YesterYear Racing League is a unique one to this platform as it seeks to emulate historical races, the 1990 Whelen Modified and Southern Modified Auto Racing teams / Smart Tour campaigns. They're identical to the real world races that occurred, and we bring you bits of history throughout the broadcast. Tonight, we change things up to that formula though, as we emulate the 1977 Race of Champions. Maynard Twoyer picked up the win after 120 laps. 300 miles of full racing is on the docket tonight. Braden, a long race at stake, a long track to do it at. What should we expect for a super speedway in full right at Pocono?
Now we're going to see some of the fastest speeds we've seen all season long, but the slowest lap times just by the virtue of how big this track is. Lap times are going to be over a minute in length. We talked about 120 laps, give or take, here tonight. So see turn 1, 14 degrees banking, great pass opportunity. You guys just send it in deep. Turn 2, not quite as high of the corner. Also another great pass opportunity. But these long straightaways, low 2.5 miles in total length this track is. And let me tell you, every corner is going to be treacherous.
And remember, we're coming down towards the home stretch. After tonight, North Wilkesboro, for this point of the stretch, there's still 2 more races on top of that in October. This schedule is coming down to the wire, Braden, to see who's going to pick up a championship here.
Now, not just a championship on the line here tonight. See Thomas Olgo once again back out in front as their points leader. Brian Bianchi had to lead there for a little bit. It was taking the fight to Olgo. Last outing last time out in New Hampshire put both those drivers back a little bit, but Olgo was able to gain a little bit on Bianchi. Bianchi looking to turn things around tonight, but also with this race being based off of the Race of Champions, this league, the YesterYear Racing League, is starting a Race of Champions series in February of next year. And in order to qualify for that league, have to be a champion of either the YesterYear Racing League or one of the other leagues that the drivers come from, or they can just win this race. So a lot on the line here tonight.
Let's take a look at what Hubble AI predicted for tonight. They predicted Thomas Ogle to come away at the top of the board. Ryan Pittman, Rex Hoyle, Dave Copeland, Brian Bianchi predicted to be in the top 5 tonight. Again, Hubble, the official AI system that YesterYear Racing uses to calculate who's going to do well in a race like this tonight. Well, tonight it's a custom fixed setup from Pocono Setup Shop that will be on the docket for these drivers to race in. It's time to see how they did in qualifying. Remember, speeds in the draft expected to reach under a minute. Tonight qualifying went only in the minute and 2-second bracket. Jonathan Thier will start on the pole tonight, with Jerry Isaacs in second. Chris Hazelip will start alongside Lloyd Moore. Todd Liston, along with Brian Bianchi, round out your top 6. Lowell Jewell, Thomas Ogle in the 8th spot. Adams and Alan Wanamaker is in your top 10 tonight, Braden.
Got Joshua Buckley coming in there in 11th. And you're looking at these times. Reminder, pole time is a 1:02.594, so in 10th, only 2-3 tenths off of that time. 11th is going to be 12th is going to be Ryan Pittman. Then 13th, Stephen Hilbert. 14th, Jeffrey Lyde in there. Ryan Neffen. 15th, Bruce Pearson. We've seen a lot of speed out of him this season there. And the 16th, Rich Blake. I don't think we've seen a whole lot of him this season, so going to have some fun here tonight, rolling off 17th. Kenneth D. Allen there in 18th. Thomas Hilbert in the 19th. Randy Schuler in 20th. Mark Fish in 21st. Dwayne Hopkins in 22nd. Torrance Child, your last driver, take a time at 1:03.121. Only 6 tenths off of that quick time in 23rd. Jeffrey McConey, Brian Johnson, and John Hastings did not take a time.
Oh, that's a look at your 26-car grid for tonight. Some different drivers also making appearances as seen during those grid results. So, let's talk about the race itself tonight. Once again, as mentioned, 120 laps going to be your distance. It uses setups made by Pocono Setup Shop, fixed setups that will maximize speeds. They have been seen as high as about an average 152 miles an hour, they said, on the speeds tonight. As well, there are unlimited tire sets for this race for the overcast skies above the racetrack tonight. Real quickly here, Braden, what are you expecting from what's expected to be, well, at minimum, a 2-hour race?
Yeah, this is going to be definitely a long race of attrition, both physically and mentally. This is a lot longer race than these guys are used to. Some of these guys only run these short league races, so they're going to put your hardware definitely to the test and foster your driving abilities here.
Happy to have you with us for the Race of Champions. This was originally organized as far back as 1951 at Langhorne Speedway, eventually transitioned to Pocono. This was a notable race back in 1977 from the history books. We replicate that history tonight. Green flag is out. The Race of Champions is underway. And as you can already see on screen, drivers not necessarily full throttle, but it's close for this package here today. Jonathan Thier holding on up front as he gets a buck trap from Isaac's Adlers, sorting out where they're going to run for this early portion of this race.
The Allen Wallmaker went wide there in turn 1, dropped back 10+ spots all the way outside the top 20 of most of the 10th starting spot, so he's going to have his work cut out for him. You see drivers already 2 or 3 wide through the field here, trying to figure out. Some of them got a lot of practice, others didn't battle for the lead though. Thier still outside Jerry Isaacs trying to make it happen on the bottom.
We're going to see a lot of potential swaps tonight, a lot of people experimenting. They've had about a week or two to be able to experiment with the setup. And Jonathan Thier leads the first lap out of the 120 here today. First lap's a minute and 9, a minute and 10 seconds to start things off. So obviously this is almost like going to be Daytona, but with a modified. How are you going to make these passes here tonight, knowing it might end up being a pack race?
Yeah, you see the work happening up front for these drivers to try and seal the deal for the lead. They're not quite able to get a huge pack in front, just like Daytona, like you mentioned, but the bump draft here, down the back straightaway, down the front straightaway, and through the short chute is crucial to see these guys. You see, for example, Jerry Isaacs right there, fell back about a car length and a half back behind Jonathan Thier, who's on the outside in that 69 machine. And Lloyd Moore got to the back bumper of Isaacs, gave him a push. That's all he needed. Now it's 2-3 car lengths in front of Thier in the 69.
Isaacs now to the point with the push from the inside. Had a 3-car push down to be able to get him up there 3 wide in the battle for second as well to add on top of it. So a lot of people trying to shuffle their way through this field. That includes already Lowell Jewell trying to work his way through the traffic. All of this as well, the very early going of this race, a lot of newcomers coming out, Braden, it's worth noting. Now, a lot of the drivers we've seen flashes of in different leagues. Randy Schuler in OBRL, Rich Blake was initially registered, Dwayne Hopkins is a red light driver, Jeff Pocono as well making a start tonight. And in the case of Pocono at least, he used to be one of the top modified racers of the platform up to a couple of years ago, as he will tell you.
Yeah, definitely back in that 2020-2022 era, he had amassed, hundreds of wins between the Tour mods and SK mods, and definitely one of the fan favorites both as a driver and as far as looking at stats. I mean, it was very hard to go out on track and beat him in a modified of any kind, so I know he was very excited to be able to run this race. You know, this entire league is centered around those big 3 leagues that we talked about earlier. Jeffrey being one of the few outsiders allowed to participate. This race was open to anyone that wanted to participate. McConaughey about gets turned actually by Torrance Childs, but McConaughey quick to work his way through the field. No practice, no qualifying, straight off the trailer, already up 7 spots.
And as we continue to watch along this pack, talking about the history when it comes to a race like this, this was the type of race in real life that seen, as we mentioned, the race winner taken under caution, actually, for the Al Gerber Memorial Race of Champions after the passing of Gerber, a longtime promoter at the time in the closing stages before the race as well. In that respective race, Troyer took it under caution over Richie Evans. Jeff Bodine was actually an entry in the race, where he made some runs in the Cup Series. He also had air drivers like Rob Bouchard that comes to mind, multiple-time modified champion at the time, Jerry Cook. A lot of competitors raced in this big event because at the time, it was a prize pool that today was worth $265,000.
Yeah, it was a huge amount of money back then, a huge amount of money now. They had 60 drivers show up, and actually had more drivers show up than that. They just could only start up to 60. And, they ran this race for multiple years at Pocono here in Long Pond. But 1977 was, I believe, one of the few years they actually ran the full 2.5-mile configuration. Outside of that, they used a converted, mile short track-ish layout using pit lane in the front straightaway, where they'd actually turn in and go backwards down pit lane at the pit lane exit as far as the normal layout, and then go through pit lane and then go back along the front stretch, about a mile flat oval where they're at right now on track. So we decided, though, we're gonna go big, go home, and see drivers already about to get shit home.
Caution! We have trouble at the front straightaway. Neff involved, and we're under yellow for the first time tonight. What happened to Neff all of a sudden there?
Well, I said some drivers wanted to go big or go home, and we're about to send someone home, and Brian Neff in his debut race seems to have a hardware issue, and this is going to be a nasty hit here.
One of the red light drivers, believe it's a hardware issue because, again, he just confirmed his wheel quit already.
See him about to take out Chris Hazlip in the process. Hazlip barely avoids catastrophe, a hard right hook there avoided, but Brian Neff issues there, and unfortunately he will not get a chance to go back out as that entire left front suspension is not just destroyed but gone. These drivers no fast repairs tonight like normal. They didn't have a fast repair in 1977. They don't have one here tonight.
So we're under caution for the first time, still 115 laps to go as the field tries to catch up to the pace car. Those speeds prior to the caution flag stayed more than a minute a lap, so it looks like the minute 2 might be the max with the conditions. On the bright side, it's not expected to rain like the real world race today in the sim.
Yeah, definitely going to be not quite as a race of attrition when it comes to weather. We're not racing in the rain here. I don't think anyone would want to race here in the rain. It's already pretty gutsy, and I can't imagine they're thinking, 50 years ago they were racing 2.5-mile Pocono layout in a modified, which, I mean, these cars nowadays are full frame chassis. I'm talking, the best of the best safety measures and whatnot. 50 years ago, they didn't quite have the safety as down as we do nowadays. So the qualifying lap was actually 5 or 6 seconds faster, I believe, too. So, I mean, the motors were turned up, the speeds were a lot higher. So, I mean, you're talking, some of them are probably going quicker than the Cup cars back in the day.
There's been a lot of talk coming into this week as well about not just this race, but what's at stake for the season. It was unveiled in the past couple weeks, too, that the prize for tonight's race ended up featuring, I believe it was, a sign that people could pick up to be able to add to their wall as a result of the prizes that was talked about in the briefing as well for the Race of Champions. A rustic handmade vintage custom-made wooden Race of Champions sign on top of that ticket punched to that IROC series you mentioned that kicks off February. Now, that series you mentioned with the IROC format would basically be Daytona, Mid-Ohio, Atlanta 2008, the Milwaukee Mile. But you have to win tonight. You have to win in the Bootleg Racing League's Stone River Shootout, which is one of its premier events, or you have to be a champion of the series in terms of the entries. A lot of different things at stake here as the pit stops are underway, as drivers obviously thinking about the fuel mileage on this big track.
Yeah, I mean, they're full throttle the entire way around. So fuel and tires, you know, unlimited tires tonight too. So expect to see some guys back in the pack to try and shake things up and change something. Looking back too, you know, we're talking about the safety and just kind of how the cars developed. You know, these cars now, and have been for the past 20, 30 years, are purpose-built cars. You actually can look at the results from the racing champions back in 1977, and it will show you the make of the car. So, for example, you know, Maynard Troyer, the winner, was in a Mustang and converted it into a modified, because that was basically what they were racing back then. You know, they had Vegas, they had Camaros, they had Gremlins, they had Pintos. I don't know if you're familiar with the Pinto, Justin, but they blew up a lot in Confire. So,
I mean, yeah. I'll be honest, my mom had a Pinto, and that was one of the main things back in the 70s, was eventually it would catch on fire. It's just a matter of, would it be yours?
I'm surprised they weren't racing Fiero back in 1986 either. I mean, at that point, throw safety out the window. So definitely shows how far things have come as far as, you know, just technology and safety. And the fact that it had a large number of cars finished. Of the 60 that partook in the race, 21 drivers, actually more than 21, 25 drivers finished the race, most of which actually on the lead lap, about 11 of them still on the lead lap. So after they had, I believe, 10 cautions, 11 cautions for 44 laps back in 1977. And right now, we're about on pace actually. The first caution came out on lap 7 for oil on the track. So we're pretty close to matching that lap for lap.
Did you just call Brian Neff oil?
No, I'm saying in 1977, the lap 7 caution came out for oil on track.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Well, the time of the caution was very close. So, we're getting ready for the restart.
I'm sure Brian probably left some oil on the track after the impact, but, you know, the caution was more for his safety.
Single file starts as we get ready for the restart with 111 to go and get to the stripe. It is Isaacs up 1 in the race lead. Thomas Oko already up 6. Ryan Pittman stayed out here as well in 3rd. Jewel and Adams, your top 5. Your top 13 all stayed out. Your first to pit was Todd Liston. This caution, most stops had 2 tires amongst your top 4 or 4 tires. For everybody else, as long as 26 seconds. Jeff Pocono on board. He was one of those who stayed out.
The biggest mover currently in the field started all the way back in 24th in 9th, up 15 spots, and then right behind him as well, Brian Johnson started right behind him as followed McConey through, also up 15 spots. So biggest movers right here, McConey and Johnson not side by side, but back and forth.
Just about ready to go. It's Isaacs in control. Again, glad to have you with us tonight here on Pocono Entertainment. We go back racing here. Green flag is out. 111 laps to go here from Pocono. And already 2-3 wide in the mid-pack. And some people try and gain some ground in the front, keeping calm.
Definitely a lot calmer than the first handful of laps. So far, it's Ogle trying to chase down Jerry Isaac. Back in the pack, they're 3 wide already for 10th. Mark Fish, Chris Hazelip, and Jeffrey McConey 3 wide down the back straightaway. They're going to short it out, though, before they get to the turn number 2.
And the single file makes it easier to defend, to say the least, in these modifieds. Already seen most of the field. The top 8 stay in the bottom. Contact. Brian Johnson had to lift out of the gas. That's putting him up for grabs for Torrance Childs and company. The first side-by-side, Rich Blake, one of those drivers we mentioned, making a start tonight in this race. He's amongst those now losing ground. Up front, people trying to test what they can do. Isaac's already on the block.
Yeah, Brian Johnson definitely trying to rebound after a little shuffle there. That's one of the biggest movers, slides right back in line behind Mark Fish and Jeffrey McConey Hazelip side by side for the 8th spot. You see the pack racing definitely coming into effect here. You can try and stick your nose out and make a run, but if you don't have any hope, you're going to fall back fast.
Right now, you see the importance on teamwork to be able to get things done around this racetrack here tonight. Teamwork going to be a critical part for the YesterYear drivers to make their way forward. Making their way forward, Jonathan Thier, after starting the pole, lost a bit of ground. He's back to fourth.
Yeah, definitely making moves, getting up through the field. Alan Wallmaker, too, another driver that struggled in the early run. He's making his way up through the field. McConey going to run a huge crossover move here, trying to make up some spots. Gets around Lou Jewell, now side by side, almost 3 wide, to Gata Adams and Jewell there.
New race leader, Ogle, as your points leader. Working right now with Ryan Pittman in the early going at least. And it seems pretty common. You find someone to work with, you push them, you get the run down the straightaway, make the pass, hopefully get single file by that point.
Now, some too is you see Ogle not really, about gets turned. I was about to mention, not really worried about getting wrecked. This is a huge car count and very early in the race to be aggressive, and so he's throwing blocks left and right, trying to do as many laps as he can. But if he gets wrecked at this point, he's finishing 24th, 25th versus normally 18th, 19th, or 20th. So that's a huge point deficit, and with only a couple races left to make up, it's going to be hard for him to rebound if he gets wrecked here.
Still plenty of time for these drivers to sort out what they want to do on this track. But right now, the top line starting to become the defensive line. 3 wide forming up in the middle of the field. Gavin Adams having a tech issue. That's not good, as Adams tucks back in line. But the plotting and planning continues. All that's allowed Pittman to move up front.
Yeah, Ogle's been playing the defensive line up top, getting a run down the straightaways, and Pittman saw that and says, don't mind if I do. Swoopty swooped. To the bottom he goes. He got the lead going through turn 1. So Ogle now pushes Pittman through turn 2.
Expecting a lot of changes like Daytona tonight. But keep on flicking back over to the 03 because the 03 is now in the top 5. Cody is one of the drivers that seems dialed in here. Diving in the corner, in fact, right now to try and get a run for 4th.
Yeah, you see the line he's taking. He's running a lot more wider entry, able to turn down, get a huge run down the straightaway, and make the pass without any help, really. He's going to do it again, coming off at the final corner, cross start finish line to into 1. Might get 2 birds with 1 stone. That's Jerry Isaacs and Lou Jewell going around, and Jeff McConey up to 3rd.
Up to 2nd, in fact. How about that? He kept the run despite no draft. He's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack all of a sudden. No help this time for the straightaway off to turn 2. Coney, first driver on iRacing to have 100 wins in these Tour Modifieds. He has a fair amount of experience winning in this car.
Yeah, he's going to settle for that 3rd spot for now. Gets a nice run off of the short chute here. He's going to try to set up these guys, Pittman and Ogle, with straightaway. Not quite able to get to the wider entry that he wants, but able to make up some ground in the middle of the corner.
And he seems to be someone a lot of people now want to work with all of a sudden here. That includes Isaacs. And making friends going to be important as this race goes on. You'd have to think here, Braden, like Daytona, like Talladega, like now Atlanta. Friends going to be critical. That friendship helping McConey to the point as they go offset 3 wide behind him.
That's definitely going to help McConey. He's going to get a bump actually from Isaacs now. Isaacs trying to clear high and get up in there in 2nd. He's going to be able to do so in return 2, but most of these guys have raced against each other, whether in their own respective leagues, and YesterYear, in some capacity. McConey's one of the strangers. He's not normally a part of the league or a part of YesterYear. He's one of the few outsiders that are participating in this race. So you have to definitely earn your respect. You have to earn their respect pretty quickly on the fly here. He made this setup or worked with the drivers to make the setup, so I'm sure they got some practice with him, but they talk about trust and sitting there and following him to the front.
Trust's going to be important tonight, to say the least. 25 still on the track, by the way. As the top pack starting to break away. Top 6, I should say. This is going to get interesting to see if this becomes a trend here tonight. Will we see the pack splinter apart here, or will it stay all meshed together over time?
I think it's a matter of how aggressive you want to be. That second pack, they're more worried about trying to get in front of one another than actually helping one another, versus, the top 6 here, about an instant there with the Ogle. No bobble by him through turn 2, but they're, getting, tandem draft, almost down the straightaways, trying to make up for lost ground. Meanwhile, the guys behind them are, trying to figure it out. So I think that's the difference. They're still in line with them. They'll catch the draft here, doing so right here through the final corner. But I think the top 6 guys are working together a lot better than everyone else.
And right now we're seeing a little bit more working together now that made our way down the front straightaway at least. One thing to know, we mentioned Johnson having a bit of a checkup earlier on. He's one of your big movers at 14 gained. Mark Fish is also up 14. Keep in mind, those are drivers that did not take service. Amongst those who did take service, how they're doing so far, well, the highest running out of those who pit so far is Todd Liston in 9th. And Liston not having an easy go of things to be able to make his way through this pack either.
No, I don't think the tires were that huge of a deal for these guys. And the biggest thing I was thinking is the more fuel you have in these cars, the lower that the rear end will actually sit and keep that spoiler out of the air. So that might be a big part of the draft here. McConaughey starts shaking things up for the lead. He's got a challenger approaching. Ryan Pittman on the bottom with Johnson here, but the numbers are just in that top lane, pushing McConaughey back out front.
And yet again, the shuffle continues on. It'll be an interesting time, you'd have to think, for pit stops too, because usually don't see green flag stops from this style of racing. They had 6 cautions in 1977 in this race. That's going to be something to think about later on, as Ogle, he wants his lead back. Pittman nearly having a contact with Isaacs. That was a bit of a bobble from the 51.
Now Ogle look on the bottom of McConaughey. Now the 03 versus the 13. The Ogle gets to run side by side. Neither driver has help. Here comes Pittman to the back bumper of Ogle and doesn't give him the bump he needs.
Pittman having troubles on turning all of a sudden. Nearly turned into McConaughey. Able to keep it off in the caution. It's at the back of the field. As we have one upside down, I believe, in Bruce Pearson. Yes, from 19th. Pearson's had an issue.
Well, that's one way to end your night early. Pearson's going to tow here, and his night is going to end upside down. Get a replay, see what happened here. It's back in the pack here. Look at that green and black car. Going through the final corner. He's going to have a little bit of help from Dwayne Hopkins. That 90 just comes down the track, clips from the right rear, sends it up into the wall, and then starts to roll across the track, across the wall. And hard hit for Hopkins and Pearson. Both their nights probably over.
Both of them would meet both legs at the minimum here. And tell Pearson losing tires from the contact. So that, let's take a break. 102 laps to go. A long night here at Pocono Entertainment. It's the Race of Champions here for YesterYear.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Pocono.
With the launch of Pocono Entertainment and Pocono Competizone alongside Pocono Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeySetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Pocono Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to YesterYear Racing coverage here on Pocono Entertainment as we get things sorted. Coming to a 99 lap to go restart. Justin Prince, Brendan Laster with you, DJ Lyon producing as pit strategy has shaken up some of the front runners. Todd Liston and Brian Bianchi, remember, they came down the first caution. Took 2 tires at that time. Well, they did it again here to have a 15 second pit stop for their mark. Guess what? They're top 2 with Pocono in third, the first with full service for this restart. Green flag's out, and we're back underway. And already for the lead, Bianchi trying to go aggressive. Pocono going even more aggressive 3 wide.
See, Jeff Pocono thinks about putting it 3 wide bottom and thinks better of it. Liston falling back up there on the top. I don't know if the 2 tires are hurting him, but you gotta remember, and on their original left sides too, I don't think they're that catastrophic, but there goes Thomas Ogo into that 3rd spot as well.
Already the drivers with full service, making full cut-throughs. Seen this a bit last time. Now, looking to get things started is Ogle to 2nd. Already the 3rd is Pittman. As Liston falls all the way to back, Isaac stuck behind him.
I see Jeff Pocono going to take the lead from Thomas Ogle and Bianchi. Pittman follows them through as well. So Bianchi on the 2 tires is falling back. I don't know if he's not able to get help, which that's the case right now. The 2 tires is what's hurting him.
And it looks like Isaacs doesn't want to wait. He wants to go. He wants to push fast. He pushes 3 wide to get himself around Gavin Adams near contact with Bianchi. These drivers don't want to wait those who took full service here. Compared to
Bianchi
those.
put in the wall, Leiden and Gavin Adams 3 wide. They're about to dice it up and slice it up back here for 6th, 7th on back. And Bianchi about just had his race ended very prematurely.
They're trying to still push to the point of aggression and crashes. So far, though, able to hold on. 97 to go when they get to the stripe. Change for the lead. Ogle wants it up front. He goes and takes it.
Okay, that Jeffrey McCombie's been pretty dominant once he got up front. Ogle's going to change the picture here, change the storyline. He wants to be the hero. Jeffrey McCombie trying to be the knight in shining armor. They're in second. He has a little bit of help from Pittman, but here comes Jerry Isaac on the bottom.
What a charge from being stuck behind those little tires up to the front. Now, McConey retaking the lead with the help of said 51 car.
We mentioned having friends here is huge, and Jeffrey McConey is kind of the outsider. You know, he has not run a single regular season with these guys, and you know, being able here to have the trust of these guys really shows, you know, their willingness to work. I don't know if they just want to get up front and know Jeff is fast, or if they just, you know, they trust Jeff that much. So I'd trust Jeff. I'd follow him to the front. I wouldn't follow him in the wall like Brian Pittman just did, though.
Mark Fish, one of the drivers who is able to take advantage of the strategy to get up to the front. He's in a great spot to battle for the top 3 now. It's been an up and down season for the 42, but he's having a solid night now, but a bad bump nearly turns him.
Still, it's about gets turned. That's Jonathan Thier in the 69. Mark Fish about got right hooked there by Thier. And meanwhile, 2-3 wide there for second. Pittman and Oka both late sends on McConey. McConey falls back to third for a split second, still hanging on there. And Thomas Oka right there behind Jerry Isaac, your leader.
And a lot of squabbling and shuffling to decide how do they want to run, how do they want to race. That's going to be the thing. Liston having a moment. Heard some crunching as he nearly turned into McConey, believe. They stay single file now for the top 6.
They're going to have to go back here to about 7th and 8th. You got Todd Liston side by side with Jeffrey Leiden, the Piggly Wiggly machine. Jeffrey Leiden had a rough go around these past couple weeks. That little Piggly Wiggly has gone to the store and hasn't to come back. They're trying to get up front here and need a couple laps. But gets turned, though, by Brian Johnson.
Yeah, they're getting very close to these Nerf bars and nearly hooking each other on them.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think it's going to work out.
So it's going to be about being heads-up drivers, you'd have to think here tonight, because it's so much on throttle. It's going to be, in a lot of these cases, these runs might cause checkups. They might cause people to have to switch lanes inadvertently.
And when you have so long single file lines, it can kind of, I wouldn't say it's a straight up single file line, but so many drivers in a line for the most part, one small checkup can just catalyst its way down the field and cause a huge stack up.
Right now, McConey to the inside of Pittman. And the good question is, do you want to stay in the back? Do you want to ride at the front? Where would you rather be in this type of a race this early on, knowing you've still got a lot of pit stops? We've seen the cautions be at the back.
Well, yeah, it's very much a super speedway mentality. If you're out front and leading the race, the odds of the wreck happening in front of you are almost none unless it happens to go beside you. So you want to probably be up front and just hope you don't get turned. As we've seen the wreck be, middle of the back of the pack. So when you're behind the wreck and happens in front of you, then you got to try to avoid it, try to maneuver, and you're 2-3 wide. It's very difficult in that situation. Jeff McConey, though, making this battle for the lead look easy, is going to retake it.
Right now, Alan Wanamaker, taking a look at him. He's got the one paint scheme tonight. And he wanted to make sure this different look for him, specialized and focused on to be able to showcase his speed tonight. He's running 17th.
That's something too. You want to be able to identify, a car from, a couple cars back. You want to be able to identify your friends and where they are and who they are. So having brightly colored cars, having unique cars, having, cars that don't really blend in per se. It's definitely a unique strategy. And, you know, Alan running a special or a non-usual scheme here tonight, so it might be a little harder for his friends to find him, but so far he's kind of cruising back here in 18th and waiting for the guys to wreck in front of him, and they're about to look at the 2 or 3 wide battle for about 10th.
Still trying to have, well, what could be some rough moments here if it comes down to it. Looks like the sun's starting to come out to play a little bit, even with the overcast skies. By the way, we're already past 1:43 in sim time. Your pole sitter going the wrong way this run.
Yeah, you see Johnson Thier here, the Buzz Lightyear machine, and he's Buzz falling back. So looking at maybe changing the pace things, maybe needs a caution to try something different, but right now in that 12th position and not looking so hot.
What's going through your mind for a race like this, though? Knowing you've got 2-3 hours likely in the seat, like you're going to be zipping around here, like you're going to be seeing a lot of lead changes, like Mark Fish wanting to take the race lead. You know that there's a lot that can happen over the course of these hours, but it's almost where you can't necessarily zone out like you could in a super speedway race at a Daytona.
No, not at all. You see McConey, Jeffrey Light, and Fish, all these drivers here trying to get the lead, and that's a huge part of it. You gotta stay mentally focused 110% of the time, 400% of the time. As Light and McConey about touch wheels there. McConey getting a huge push from Jerry Isaacs behind him. Brian Johnson also joining that bottom lane, help push those guys. So you gotta stay focused. You gotta really be in tip-top shape here, not only, you know, physically but mentally. So that's a huge part of it. And just don't drink water beforehand. Don't drink anything beforehand, not just water. Just don't drink at all.
You definitely don't want to mess later on in the race, if I get what you mean. Right, so all this is playing to where you have John Hastings that just noticed, one of the drivers that have cut through the field. 26 to 10, not bad.
No, not at all, up 16 spots. So actually two of their biggest movers right now are first and second. Mark Fish goes below the yellow line, but back here with John Hastings, he's the battle happening in front of him. And if I'm Hastings right now, I do not want to see this battle being this active, because if it goes wrong, it's going to go wrong right in front of me, and I don't want anything to do with that. They're 2-3 wide. Piggly Wiggly machine. Here comes Jeffrey Light and gets bounced back and forth like a ping pong. 3 wide middle. Going to fall back here a little bit.
A lot of ping-ponging for a moment there. That scares the field just a touch. Oh, this is still with the race lead side by side. And all of this is with these drivers driving like there is 5 to go rather than 90 to go. Near Piggly Wiggly contact there.
That Piggly Wiggly's definitely a little wiggly, that's for sure. A huge checkup for him going through turn 1. That's going to force a couple cars to check up Chris Hastings, but especially he's going to lose a couple spots. It's Lil Jewel and John Hastings goes around him. But the outside is definitely more formed up to having the numbers. They're pushing a lot harder. McConaughey leading the outside, able to lead a couple laps here. Mark Fish is trying to make that bottom more because they just don't have the manpower down there to do it.
So they continue to dance around on the racetrack at the moment. 90 coming to 89 laps to go in this race. Pack starting to separate yet again.
It's ironically, it's about the same spot. Top 6, 7 guys able to pull away by 5, 6, 7, 10 car lengths. It's not really a set number where they start losing the draft. I think they're going to get in the draft here down the back straight away, but it's one small checkup. I think this is a result of that checkup the last lap. It kind of takes a while to all play full cycle here. So you got to be careful for that in the closing laps here. We're nowhere near the closing laps, but make mental note of that. You'll see patterns throughout a race like this, especially such a unique track and car company who don't normally race. Most of you guys probably don't have any experience here outside of this race practicing for it. So you see patterns and trends throughout the race that happen. You make note of that to use in the final couple laps if you need to.
Still coming to 88 laps to go in the race. Looking at the field, trying to see where the trends are. Outside of Fish up to 17, Cody and Johnson up to 20. It almost feels like the way this race is going to play out, you almost need to bank on a caution, especially if you're those way back there. That's a Gagel 17th on back that have lost 4 seconds you've seen in the backdrop.
Yeah, definitely this pack led by Alan Wallmaker, Torrance Shawers, Thomas Hilbert, Brandy Shooter, Rich Blake, Lloyd Moore, Stephen Hilbert, and a couple others definitely back here. It's kind of Sunday cruising, hoping for a cross to get back to the lead pack, but they're able to go out here. Hey, if we're, for example, Alan Wallmaker is leading this pack, he's not leading the race, but he's getting experience leading. So he's taking what he's learning right now, even though he's back in 17th. And when he gets up front, with 5 laps to go, he's going to take what he's learning right here, right now, and use that later in the race.
And still, all this is with none of them really trying to close up. Right now, their speed's 144 out of the corners. Still reaching 151 in the main pack on speed. Those in this grouping only reaching 150 for those curious. It seems as though you lose the draft, you're going to be gone from said draft unless you get a caution. Up in the main draft, Johnson to lead.
Now, speaking of caution, about to get one as a caution machine. Brian Johnson, the caution tip on the back bumper, goes to the lead. Ryan Pittman pushing him. McConey and Isaac up top, side by side by side. Got 3 rows here, 2 columns deep, trying to make some magic happen. Johnson with advantage, but they definitely want to stay in that lead draft. I don't expect it to go caution-free this point forward, but we'll find out.
Find out is the key word. We've already had 2 cautions this race. Still not reached the hour point in this one either in the early going. Still very early going, you can argue. So, what can be said too about Pocono? A lot of history here at the Speedway. You mentioned too that the Race of Champions, it used to have that short track on the front straightaway at one point.
Yeah, that was definitely a unique layout. I remember talking to Alan earlier this season because I was like, I didn't know modifieds ever ran Pocono. I assumed it was a 2.5 mile layout, and then going back and doing some history and watching film, and they used, I believe it was about probably a mile in configuration, give or take, and they used the front stretch and then used your pit lane as your back straightaway. So it's very quick corners, very odd corners, very uniquely shaped, but 1977, they ran the full racetrack, I'm sure, for safety reasons like we talked about a little bit ago. Probably not the greatest idea in the world, and after that, they started using that mile or so configuration. I see some contact here, almost.
Getting very darty up at the front right now. Just on a bit of a razor's edge when it comes to all of this, you'd have to say. But that comes with the territory in a race like this. You're on the razor's edge all night long, and we're seeing a lot of drivers who haven't necessarily led this season get to the point.
That's definitely a big game of inches. As far as you're looking at the difference between the laps led, sometimes it's been within a couple thousandths. Last time by was 200ths of a second. So game of inches, game of razors, thin edge. You don't want to go over the edge. You don't want to cut yourself here, but anything to lead the lap, and especially when it comes down to that last lap, it's going to be all marbles on the line there.
All sorts of aggression amongst them too. As one thing, interestingly enough, you get a decent enough momentum shift, you're like McConey. You can drive on your own sometimes, I've noticed, Braden, and maximize on speed coming out of the corner to make these passes. Sometimes not.
Yeah, that's one thing. We're talking about patterns, talking about trends. You notice, what works, what doesn't. How they're able to make a move without having, not a whole lot of help. And Jeffrey McConey is here right here. Doesn't have any help really at all. No one directly behind him pushing him. Jerry Isaac about a car length and a half back. Going to take his battle 3 wide. Thomas Ogo on the bottom. Brian Johnson in the middle. But McConey trying to get the lead here.
Put it. And Johnson stays up in the front. Of note, by the way, Dwayne Hopkins, officially out of the race, has left the facility for the time being. 16 laps down at the moment, currently scored 24th. That incident earlier on, 23, still running on the racetrack.
And
Go ahead.
Looking back at, I pulled up my good old friend Google Maps and the drone camera and a ruler, and it was just shy of about a mile. It's about a 3/4 mile layout. Talk about the short track using the front stretch and pit lane, so around 3/4 of a mile on that layout is. So a lot shorter and a lot slower speed-wise than this 2.5 mile layout.
Right now, these speeds still remaining consistent. Only 10, maybe 15 miles an hour difference noticing when they run through the corners versus down the straightaways. There's not a lot of speed being shed off here.
No, I think they can definitely go a lot faster too. I know talking to some drivers in practice, they were hitting speeds of 157, 158 in the draft. So we're about 6-7 miles an hour shy of that, as far as top speed goes right now. So these drivers definitely can be a lot more aggressive as far as pushing, as far as shoving, as far as getting speed out of the corner. So we're not quite seeing their maximum potential yet. And you see the two packs have definitely separated big time there. And a bit of a third pack a little bit back there, but primarily just Stephen Hilbert and Lloyd Moore kind of just a lot of land by themselves.
Johnson starting to get dropped now after having some opportunities to lead for a bit. He's fighting to be able to stay up front now, and an accordion effect. Triple car tandem Isaacs nearly got pushed out of the way.
That definitely can all go wrong pretty quickly. McConey still hang on to that lead, but Isaacs about, you saw, that just mentioned, about had this race into there. Johnson trying to be a little aggressive as far as making the moves, and got Ogle, Thier, and Mark Fish all on the line behind him, ready to pounce if Johnson's not able to make the move happen.
All sorts of squabbling still as they work in line. But can you believe we're already at the 1/3 mark next time by?
I can't. I don't know if I expected to go by quicker or expected to go by longer. So it's definitely been a great race so far. I mean, no lack of excitement. This was, the weekly Twitter NASCAR polls, I'd be, 98% yes. It's been a great race so far. Jeff McConey has put on an absolute masterclass after starting all the way back in 24th out of 26 drivers. So 23 drivers on track, of which all of them, actually 24 drivers, 23 on the lead lap. Bruce Pearson, 20 laps down and back out on track in that 22 machine.
And all that being said, now at that 80 lap to go mark at the very early going of this race. So, a lot to plot, a lot to plan, a lot to think about, a lot to consider. Eventually, they're going to have to pit. We're 21 laps into the run.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the exact fuel window is. It definitely changes because if you're in the draft, you can go 3/4 throttle and still make up a ton of time. Versus if you're Jeff McConey, you are full throttle 100% of the way for the most part. So you're burning a lot more fuel being out in front. So McConey, expect a pit stop probably by him a little bit earlier than others if we do get to the green flag pit stop point.
This pack is gaining more and more cars almost right now, at least in the 16 that have maintained the draft. Just getting more and more bunched up here. They have ditched the other pack by 7 seconds. You see them in the backdrop on the other side of the straightaway. That's how big losing this draft can be so far, the course of a run.
And see Jeff McConey able to kind of do the best he can leading the pack. I think it's one of the reasons they're able to pull away and kind of separate themselves so well. Previously in this race, most of this race, he's been doing side-by-side, 2 wide, 3 wide for lead. They're about to go side-by-side again as Thomas Ogle and Thier are trying to make it happen. Not quite able to seal the deal, though. yet to cross the T's and dot the I's, but you know, Macone's doing a great job leading this pack, and because of that, they're just an overall faster group of cars. So I think that's one reason I see Jeff and his great driving ability. That driving ability actually be put to the test in real life at Winchester about 28 days from now. So that will also be a fun one to watch in a paint scheme similar to this. So watching Jeff lead this one, though, has definitely been a great race.
The squabbling continues in the mid-pack of this main group. So it's going to get interesting how they're going to maneuver pit stops here, because it's going to be tricky to enter. You'd have to think in a modified.
Well, this pit lane entry to begin with is such a weird pit entry at speed. There is an access road, you don't have to take it, but just don't want to hit that attenuator. You gotta get as far left as early as you can, come out of the final corner and lock it down without spinning it out. So that's something these drivers, I'm sure, didn't practice. Most of them might have, some might have expected it.
We have a couple sliding down. Gavin Adams having contact with Joshua Buckley and Kenneth Allen, but it didn't bring the caution out. We stay green. That split the pack in half.
Down to about 8 drivers left in that lead pack. Adams, Buckley. Adams in that 30 machine. Buckley in the 81. So Adams is going to come down a little bit. Buckley's going to stay up a little bit. And just kind of meet in the middle. Looks like Buckley comes up more than Adams comes down. A little bit of contact there. Both drivers do a great job at keeping it straight, though. So no damage for them. Buckley down pit lane, though. Adams stays out on track. Actually, did a good job of catching that second pack as well.
So that's really split these drivers apart. At the least, Adams and Allen have lost a lot of time here. Mostly everybody else did at least maintain some semblance of draft. Up front, Jonathan Thier, he is looking for his lead back after controlling the initial start for the race. He now edges to the point, this time over Macone with some help, but has to get out of the throttle.
See Macone here on the outside, Thier to the bottom. A lot more formed up that bottom is there. Able to maybe make some magic happen, but yet to do so.
Look how spread apart it is behind the main cluster. It's going to be tricky for these drivers to maintain draft, you think?
Definitely so. I'm going to go back and correct myself real quick, too. It was Kenneth D. Allen that came up, and then Gavin Adams and Buckley was the third car involved in that wreck. So Allen and Adams are on track. Buckley is the one down pit lane, getting damage fixed.
Yeah. And so they work and work fast to be able to sort themselves back together here. Remember, normally, say a NASCAR Cup car can go around 35-ish laps for those curious. This is going to be a true test for these drivers, how long they can actually go on the fuel tank here tonight. It's about 22.88 gallons, give or take, that are in these fuel tanks here for these cars tonight.
Yeah, so we're definitely pushing it towards E. Macone. He gets pushed by Jerry Isaacs almost, and that was almost disastrous there for Jeffrey Macone in 03. So had a bit of a bobble on that corner exit. So tires loss might be a huge factor here, and see who takes tires, who doesn't.
Yeah. No hands out the window yet, by the way, for those curious. Pack has seen Hazlett and Bianchi amongst those lost the draft in this wave since the incident. 20 laps so far led by Macone, though. He has been at ease controlling this pack.
Yeah, and we're sitting there in 20 laps. That doesn't sound like a whole lot to just shy of half the laps completed so far. But you got to realize, Jeffrey McCone started way back in 24th on the second to last row, so he had to pass literally every single car out there for the most part, and avoid a couple of wrecks through that journey and get up front. He did it in very quick time.
Starting to see some troubles for that bottom line, by the way, as that point was being made. The air getting a little bit loose, starting to bobble a lot on corner entry and corner apex.
That tire wear definitely starting to become a part of this factor. Also, we talked about these drivers running a little bit low on fuel. Maybe they're going to be able to technically go faster by not having that extra weight in the tank. It just depends, because also as we mentioned, the more weight you have, the lower your rear end sits in the car, or sits in the air, so you don't have as much drag down the straightaway, but also kills your cornering speed versus the truck in Daytona, where they're full throttle here to kind of need that downforce in the rear a little bit to help you stabilize it. A bit of a contact almost there for that fifth position, but the driver's able to sort it out for the most part.
So the bottom line losing ground. The track temperature has kicked up a little bit, 1 degree. Not the biggest of deals, but it is up. Oh, and look at that. Johnson and Hastings nearly tandemed to the inside. They got cut back.
And see, the drivers talked about learning as you go, noticing trends, noticing patterns. A lot of drivers noticing the tandem is very effective here. Ogle has to back off a little bit and not run over Thier. That's going to make Hastings go wide. Johnson now looking to the inside here. This battle is starting to heat up. And second on the last lap. No, we still got 72 laps to go this time by.
Still plenty of time, but a caution. We'll add some time to it to think.
Front straightaway, we got Torrance Childs, Rich Blake. Hard hits for both these drivers. They were in the 19th position, and we have barrel rolled Torrance Childs down this front stretch here. Still rolling, though.
Rich Blake was running 16th. Torrance Childs had picked up 2-3 spots this lap.
Childs in the yellow 5, Blake in the blue number 8. Just running out of real estate. Both drivers going for that same minute, and Childs starts barrel rolling, comes back on track, sends Blake into the wall. Both drivers then start to flip at that point. And let me tell you, we have had quite a few cars upside down. I think I know why they went to the short track layout after 1977 here, JP. Running on board there with Childs, a wild ride for him. Able to actually land back on all fours and keep it rolling. Damage does not look bad at all. I'm very impressed that car held together.
That puts us back under caution. This should trigger pit stops here. Of note, the 5 only went to pick up the meatball flag from that incident to put us under the caution flag. So, strategy should be simple. 4 tires and fuel, but 70 to go when we enter the pit lane. Less than 70 to go when we get back racing, Braden. It's been interesting so far.
It's definitely been a great race. We've seen just how much the attrition is going to come into play here. And, we're coming up towards that halfway mark, and once we get past the halfway mark, I think we're definitely going to see some more boxing gloves start to get prepared to get warmed up.
Let's see how they enter through and make sure they get these pit stops dealt with. Looking at McConey's stats so far, 24 laps led. It's been outright looking solid. 24th, where he started, of course, the lowest he's been. Strategy worked out for him earlier on in this one. Here they come in for the pit stops this time.
The money stop time, not quite yet, but it's definitely an important stop. If they're able to stay out late or stay out in the lead. We've seen drivers take 2 tires. We've seen drivers take 4 tires. It's going to be interesting to see what McConey does from the lead.
So there they go into the pit lane, already taking tires. Not a surprise for much of this field to be up on the jacks. As well, at this point, after the long run, some drivers did have some fall off.
I've seen some 2-tire stops through the field. This is definitely going to shake things up. McConey going to go with 4 tires and a full tank of gas. So something about these cars, they take absolutely forever to fill up. So I think, you're better off taking 4 tires because they're going to be in the pits, getting 30 plus seconds of fuel. Rich Blake does make it back out on track 1 lap down. No wave around, so I'll have to get that back the hard way. Although 1 lap down isn't the worst spot to be, as Jeff McConey wins the race in the race, and that's the race off pit road.
Here, Isaacs, Olgo, Hastings. Rest of your top 5. Reset the field. We come back after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, McConey.
With the launch of McConey Entertainment and McConey Competizone alongside McConey Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeySetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at McConey Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello and welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. And this is the longest race of the season for these drivers, just shy of the halfway mark. 69 nice laps to go. And Jeffrey McConey, after a cycle of pit stops here, is going to have the lead for the single file restart coming on up.
And so, we get sorted out for said restart. It's been, well, it's been exciting up towards the front. We've seen some interesting things when it comes to the pack separation. Seen where cooperation going to be very critical. Now, coming to 68 on the board when we take the green flag. Hold on, we have somebody ducking off. John Hastings just ducked down pit road.
No penalty for him. I saw Jeffrey McConey was shutting his car off under caution, so we might be maybe right at a very tight fuel window, and Hastings might just do a splash and go.
Weird call. And something obviously going on. He's jumped out of the car after running up in the front.
Maybe he's gonna go get some pizza.
Well, either way, McConey still holds on to the race lead. Second spot for Thayer, Isaacs, Ogle, Pittman, your top 5 on the racetrack. And they built up a decent buffer because of that pit stop situation.
That definitely created a little bit of a check up through the field. They're going to have to really push here and, not back down at all, trying to get back up to this lead pack. At this point, you don't really know if we're going to have another caution. We're near the halfway point. So you want to get up front and don't want to lose the race right here before it's even close to being over.
Starting to see some of the people wanting to make up ground on the racetrack. Mark Fish does not want to wait.
Something too about this battle for the lead is, you don't have the numbers up here to really form 2 or 3 lines like we had previously. So if you're going to go, you're going to have to try and make it happen by yourself or with very limited help. The run that the second pack is going to get to when they catch this lead pack is going to be astronomical. Looking at the speed, the lead pack currently 146, and that pack behind them pretty close to the same team drivers in the 148, 149.
Oh, we have one contact. Fish making a door slam. Wow, that was a hard slam to line it.
That Piggly Wiggly machine has had a rough night. All the pigs keep going to the store. They're not coming back. Wiggly able to hang on. Lloyd Moore, Fish, and a couple others, Little Jewel, and that little bubble there. It's not going to help these guys at all as they're falling back even more. Their top 5 single file, not anymore. Jonathan here sticks his nose to the inside of Jerry Isaacs. He's got to run for the lead going into turn 1.
Side by side for the point. Buzz Lightyear looking to take flight. Looking to fly to the point. Still getting help from Ogle.
Now Ogle comes down the bottom, helps him out. Ryan Pittman gets to pick and choose which lane he wants to help. Decides not to help none of them. The inside falling back. They're on the bottom. Ogle on the bottom. Not quite able to make some magic happen, but able to get side by side for second.
A lot of shuffling still as they try and go side by side for the point again. Cornelius Room, Isaacs nearly squeezed down. What they have noticed from McConaughey, he's held the wheel pretty firm even with that contact there. Kept it smooth. Others have had some bobbles in the corners.
Johnson's here trying to go to infinity and beyond here, trying to find victory lane. He's got a handful of laps to do it, but he's trying to get the lead a little bit early, see if he can hang on. And so far, McConaughey's putting up a tough fight, but gets turned. He might get put in the wall here. That was awfully close.
That was a little bit nerve-wracking again. And yet again, that sees things gripped together, nerf bar to nerf bar. Isaacs having to lift hard. Deere does not want to give this up. He wants the control of this field. He gets it.
This is a 5-car breakaway. They've got 2 seconds on that pack behind them. You see the gap there. So it's all going to be these 5 drivers. Let's get caution. We're about to get one. They're into the wall. Gets turned. Able to keep it going straight. Jerry Isaacs about gets in the Thier again. And Pittman there hang on to 5th.
Wow, is all you can really say. Holy cow, some tight moments in this main pack. They've broken away, but they're trying to get it reduced in quickly.
And Johnson's here in the 69 there. Jeff McConaughey in the 03. Tom Sogler the 13. Your points leader. Isaacs in the 51. And you see everyone just really fighting for inches here. It's not working out there. I'm surprised they're all able to keep it going straight. Not just keep it going, but McConaughey trying to get the lead back now from Thomas Ogle.
Yeah, they are really fighting hard up front. They've got a small cushion, keyword small, of more than a second in hand. Isaacs helps McConaughey back to the point again. Everybody behind them, though, is working in tandem 2x2, but are not as quick as the leaders right now, even with this fighting.
Yeah, I think that bobble there of their leaders, it was allowed that second pack to gain a little bit, but not enough to get the draft. They're awfully close off the back bumper, getting there off the back bumper of Ryan Pittman, Lloyd Moore leading that second pack at the line. The gap is about the same, 1.5 seconds, so he needs a huge push here from the guys behind him, and he's just not getting it. There's nothing you can do. There's not a worse feeling in the world as a driver than watching the pack in front of driveway at super speedway style race. And there's just nothing you can do.
Take a look at Lloyd Moore. You can even see it visibly. Just look at that interval. There's nothing you can do when just driving a straight line, even working together, just loses you a tenth or two.
Yeah, I mean, nothing but feeling helplessness. And Leiden behind him, starting to push him a little bit, but Brian Johnson side by side there with Leiden, not helping them out at all. Maybe Johnson thinks he can do a better job leading the pack, and he's got a huge pack inside the line. Brian Bianchi as well. Driver trying to catch Thomas Ogle. Hit up the Allen involved in an incident earlier, Lil Jewel, Allen Wallmaker as well. So if Jeff can catch the lead pack, they'll get a great run, and they should be able to fly right by him. Like Jeff McConey flying by Thomas Ogle for the lead.
Cody continues his dominance in this race. It's been that way all night. Thomas Ogle having a great points night, you could argue, though.
Reminder, because McConey is not a series regular, I don't believe the points will count for him. I'll have to go back and double check that. So any point or position closer to Bianchi can get to Ogle, it's going to help him, with only 4 races left. So I believe after this one, points, every point matters at this point. Points. A lot of points to be made here.
Points everywhere. Everywhere. Don't want to lose points. You don't want to end up being down on points. You don't want to end up being in this hornet's nest that seems to all but trying to sort out what to do here. Kenneth Allen right now at the push car inside.
I see him maybe making some magic happen. They gained a little bit on their leaders. Cross the line. I mean, it's 1/100th of a second they gained, but maybe over the course of this run, they might be able to get something together. Now it's with them shuffling to who wanted to lead the second pack. Bianchi now leads that second pack over Allen and Wanamaker. Kenneth D. Allen and Allen Wanamaker. So kind of funny rhythm there. So Brian Johnson also up in that battle, trying to run down that lead pack.
Halfway next time by at the stripe, by the way, as we continue on with this Race of Champions. All this has just been almost a wrestling match every moment. It's been big battles for many. Allen Wanamaker, he's now moved himself into this mix as well. Todd Liston. This wrestling match at halfway continues.
Yeah, trying to lead the line at halfway. Jeffrey McConey, Thomas Ogle side by side. Halfway, leader is going to go to Thomas Ogle by 5/100th of a second. Has the inside advantage over McConey. Neither driver has much help. So it's all about momentum here. McConey has momentum, takes the lead by 1/4 of a car length through one. Has to run the wider line, about makes contact, but so far, holding my words here, it's been pretty clean.
Gotta feel good with the league side of things potentially as well. I'm not talking about just yesteryear. Remember, there's different league representation in this series. It's almost a badge of honor to do well in what's basically the crown jewel for this season.
This is basically the all-star game for these guys. It's the best of the best have all sat here and prepared for this race, and not to get bragging rights, but you are basically crowned up there as one of the greats, one of the esteemed, and to have that Race Champions League starting early next season, and you basically have to be either a champion of one of the few leagues that these drivers all come from. You have to win this race or a couple other select races, I believe. So it's a very exclusive club, and I don't know if he wins this race, he's going to run the Race Champions, but definitely having his name even on that list, we've seen just how fierce this race has been all season long.
And all night long we work. That's all you can say on that. Still though, take a look at some of the others. Brian Johnson, he's in 6th, and he is essentially falling back into the clutches of this group of second packers.
And definitely starting to fall back off that second pack is Wanamaker, Liston, and Johnson. So not quite able to get the momentum they want. They've gotten a single file-ish for the most part. A couple of drivers trying to make up some spots, but they're going to need a caution, I think, at this point.
And cautious precautions have been a thing here tonight. We're about half of the longest run of the race now. We're at 12 laps in. Remember, the long run went 26 laps before pit stops prior to the last caution flag. just listening in on these sounds, these drivers keeping also smooth with the throttle moment, with the throttle itself, I should say.
I mean, it's pretty much hammered down the entire way around here. And we mentioned you don't really scrub a whole lot of speed either. I mean, it's just some wide tires and some wide action in the oval, trying to make this car as wide as possible. Runs the middle line, down the bottom, Jeff Pocono hanging on the outside.
Hanging on for dear life, some of these drivers.
Now, normally Jeff is in a position where we're able to talk to him in the middle of the race, but not doesn't seem for the night. He's very focused, very intent on going out here and winning this race. And you know, we were talking to him a little bit beforehand. He was very excited for this race, talking about his stats and no practice, no qualifying, but he doesn't need it, it seems.
Doesn't seem to be the case, indeed, yeah. Each of these drivers have not been afraid to bump drought each other to be able to help each other along in these battles too, I've noticed.
Yeah, and you definitely don't see anyone picking sides or picking teams. They're going to go with whoever's best. Marconi about makes contact. Did make Nerf bar contact there with Ogle. But you know, they're really going back and forth between who they're helping and who they're not helping. So it really depends what situation looks best for that specific driver.
Taking a look down the straightaway, coming around, 56 to go. This pack has now steadily lost near 2.5 seconds. That's to the race leaders, and you see the separation.
Yeah, that's a huge gap there. It's the third pack behind those guys as well, well beyond that pack. Starting at 16th, it's Stephen Hilbert, Gavin Adams, Mark Fish. Those three drivers kind of in their own little pack. So well beyond. They're definitely going to need a caution. And actually, Hazelip might become some of that traffic if this goes green. Your second row starter all the way back in 20th. So that's going to lead that in 20th right now. Rich Blake still on track though. Remember, he was flipping a couple minutes ago. Only 2 laps down right now.
Good of him to still at least try and keep in the race. But he needs some luck to be able to get himself back in the lead lap. Obviously needs a lot of luck to be able to get in a pack here.
Okay, McConey about makes some more contact. There's Rich Blake. Kind of lonely. Mr. Lonely will start calling him on a straightaway with himself. I mean, nothing he can really do there. But battle for the lead. McConey has no help on the outside. Falling back fast. Down the quarter car link. Contact with Thier. Thier runs him up the track. More contact. They're inside of one another. Still making contact on the short shoot here. This isn't going to get in pretty.
And a lot of conversation saying reconsider on what you're doing up front here with this.
You gotta think about it. These drivers, you know, Jeff doesn't really have a whole lot to lose. This is a one-off for him, you know. So definitely he can be as aggressive as he wants. A couple drivers also not in that points battle. I don't believe Thier is one of their championship drivers. You know, already got Thomas Ogle, who, you know, DNF here would definitely hurt a championship race.
So they get sorted out here. Ogle and McConey still moving. They're the head of the class. By the way, all that squabbling cost them all of about 3/10.
Yeah, this is not going to end pretty at all. Thier once again on the inside of McConey. McConey getting pushed by Isaac Pittman. Still kind of cruising behind these guys, waiting to pick a line and waiting to pick an opportunity to seize the most of it. And McConey trying to make some magic happen on the outside. Isaac falls back a little bit, not able to give the run. Thier still side by side.
So, Johnson, you can see it right there, the momentum for a moment swinging his way. Even with all that, just not having anyone in front of you is that big.
And see these drivers here. McConey battle for the lead. Has the run on the outside. Thomas Ogle on the bottom. In the 13 gets a bump from Thier. Not able to do much with it. Here comes Isaac now, pushing McConey through turn number 2. McConey not able to clear low, but go and get the momentum here.
Ogle, nearly clear, not fully clear. Some tough breaks there at the moment with how they're shuffling. As McConey no longer has any help up there.
They have 4 cars on the bottom. Jeffrey McConey stuck on the outside by himself right now. Still take it to him. Has the run, gets the momentum off the corner there side by side. They're pretty much even. McConey, 149, 150 miles an hour into turn 1. He's going to lose all that momentum here through 1.
And with all of this starting to break down, the other pack is finally making official inroads. It's another 10th gain that corner with how they've started all of a sudden. Fight more aggressively, but also just fight in a way that it doesn't gain the time back down the straights.
Yeah, McConey definitely has something worked on the outside. I think it's more momentum based than anything. And right here, going to get a great line. Thinks about coming in front of Thier. Thinks better of it. Maybe not. Oh, about gets turned. Thier. Bob was back there. About gets sent to YesterYear. Able to keep it going straight. And McConey able to take it to Thomas Ogle now. Battle for the lead.
That gap between first and sixth is about the same, 2.1 down the front straightaway, but they are gaining a lot in turn 1. Coney does not want to give this up, obviously. Coming to 50 to go this time by. He's been the conversation. He's led the most laps so far. He's not backing off as Ogle gets the push by.
Yeah, Thier definitely aggressive on that bottom. McConey has no help quite yet. Isaac is there, not giving the bump to him. Number 2, Ryan Pittman has sat there in 5th this entire run and hasn't picked or choose the line this entire time to get the draft, to stay with the draft and stay with the pack, but hasn't really made any aggressive moves, waiting for these guys to wreck, waiting for that opportunity to open up, saving fuel, saving his tires. So I'm really liking the strategy by Ryan Pittman staying in this lead pack.
Yeah, just waiting in the popcorn seat, see if anything pops ahead and pops about. All of the other pack is giving up, working together. It's 3 wide back there. Still 2 wide up front, but you see Johnson, he's lost the confidence to lead the group. It's 3 wide.
The Lloyd Moore now leads. He's got Kennedy Allen behind him, pushing him. Brian Johnson, how about 3.5-ish wide, almost staggered. 4 wide contact between Brian Johnson and a couple others there. Lloyd Moore, Johnson starts to ping pong, I thought. No, he's going ping pong. Let's go, Joe sitting up the track. And so far, all 4 drivers are able to keep it going straight, but not for long.
Yeah, Lloyd Moore's in a dangerous spot with the lined up Nerf bar. Still the run for the outside from Lowell Jewell. Johnson getting squeezed out of the conversation with all this squabbling. Randy Schuler also amongst those, picking up a lot of ground now as a result of the squabbling. This
huge
time
run
by
on the corner for him. Oh, contact, huge heavy contact. About turns Lloyd Moore. He had a big bump from the car behind. I believe it was Brian Johnson, and upset him a little bit. So Randy Schuler, a driver we haven't talked about much tonight, now in the picture, trying to lead the second pack. And let me tell you, he's 1 caution away from being out front in command. And they're actually catching pretty decently. Even though they're being a ton more aggressive, they have caught up the lead pack by a couple of tenths.
all the squabbling, Braden, has cost them all the ground they were starting to pick up. Oh, more contact for Moore. He holds on to it.
These drivers definitely getting aggressive. You can feel the intensity starting to get turned up, and you know they want a caution. They don't want to be in the caution. And see Brian Bianchi there. He needs points on Thomas Ogle. Right now they're separated by 10 spots. So that might as well seal the deal for Ogle as far as the championship run goes. Might say couple bad weeks here, which we haven't seen out of Thomas Ogle in a while. Later that time across the line, give it to Jeffrey McConey, side by side, and I believe they about made contact, but they've swapped the battle for the lead as McConey on the bottom, Ogle up top.
Oh, and our one got pushed out of the way. This time, Jewel getting shoved out of the way, though, on screen. They are not playing nice in the second pack. If they keep racing like this, this may become a caution point.
That's to say, they want a caution. They don't want to be the caution. Battle for the lead, though, heating up big time. McConey looking on the bottom of the boat, washes up into Thomas Ogle. Johnson's here once again, follows Ogle through, and McConey has a huge run on the bottom. He's going to get a push from Jerry Isaacs. And McConey trying to get in front of this pack. We mentioned with only having 5 cars, you're not able to really build the numbers that you need to seal the deal to have a more dominant line. It's about how aggressive the pushes are going to be, and Isaacs right now the most aggressive pusher we've seen all night.
Yeah, we're seeing them start to be a bit more darty down the straightaways, trying to work on these pushes. We are just about our longest run of the race now on fuel, by the way. 23 laps since the pit stops under caution. McConey now retakes the throne up at the front.
And McConey once again out front has no one side by side. It's been a couple laps he's been able to breathe. The drivers are behind him not breathing. Lloyd Moore leading that second pack. Randy Schuler right behind him, and some heavy bumps from Lil Jewel. Lil Jewel trying to get up front and go catch these guys. They've fallen off a little bit. Steve Wanamaker also in that picture. Kenneth D. Allen as well. Second pack also Jeffrey Loudon, Brian Johnson, Brian Bianchi, Thomas Hilbert, Todd Liston. So about 7-8 drivers all try and get up to the lead pack. And to the way this lead pack is racing, Thomas Ogle once again looking inside of McConey. Anything can happen.
Second pack's not waiting. Wanamaker going 3 wide yet again. And this is all for, at best, 6th spot, mind you. Trouble! Lil Jewel turned around. No caution, though. We stay green. Brian Johnson also loses the pack from it.
The Lil Jewel slow and low on the racetrack. Mission's left rear caution is out.
And he stopped on the track. That brought out the caution.
Maybe we're going to be A-okay until this happened. Looking at Brian Johnson, see the hazards on the back and the orange machine, yellow rims. He gets to the left rear of the number 2 of Lil Jewel, and around he goes. Heavy hits for both those drivers. Lil Jewel unable to continue rolling. It would have been great if it just stopped down there and towed, but there's a back bumper camera that's probably going to get destroyed here. Pretty, actually not that bad of a hit, but it just knocks the rear end out of whack and actually knocks the left front. See the left front not even moving, so yeah, he couldn't even steer the car out of the way that much. So at that point, the caution's already out. Nothing you can do.
That wheel flipped about 180 degrees up on the car. About 45 laps to go now in the race as Jewel tries to make it around with the hobbled race car. And that, again, is going to lead to the packs converging yet again. That's huge for those that lost the draft from the 6-car breakaway, the 5-car breakaway, should say.
Yeah, this is going to basically, all that effort they've had as far as pulling away from these guys is going to neglect all of that. And just like that, we're going to have a 20 or so car race for the lead.
Expecting pit stops coming up here. See if that indeed ends up being the case, but it's been the trend to see just about full service for about this point on the fuel stops. Remember, they were 34-second pit stops on the field last time. Expecting similar here.
And Lil Jewel is actually on the track, still able to make it on the pit road. Still technically on the lead of that position, yet to lose that lead of that position, but as the field comes around now, out of the final corner on pit road, they will get by them unless they're able to get that car fixed under 15 seconds or left. I've heard some crazy pizza delivery deals, but nothing quite that quick as Jeffrey McConey leads them on down. Looks like an entire field coming down here. Should be pretty close to their final stop of the night.
Pretty close is the key word. We're not at the 1/3 to go mark yet as everyone jumps into the lane. And with it being 4 tires, expecting the full services here, looks like at least McConey's left side's not getting raised here, interestingly enough. Everybody in this pit lane right now.
Coney forced one out of his stall.
Hold on 1 second. Where did Jonathan Thier just lose his tire? Thier, I think, may have had an issue while he was under caution. He's lost a right side tire. Yeah, Jeff McConey has won the race off pit row, but I think we've had the 4th place car have an issue on pit entry here, Braden. We might need to take a look at this because he no longer has a right front tire.
Yeah, he tried to be a little aggressive on pit entry, it looks like. And he has hit the pit anyway. I saw him stalled there, and I just thought he had something wrong with his car. I was trying to figure out what happened there as well. We'll see the replay here. That's Jerry Isaac in front of him, and actually Thier had to tow to his pit stall. So Jonathan Thier tonight, from infinity and beyond to the garage here. I'll watch the pit attenuator here. I don't know how he misses it. I know these cars are very difficult to see over the breather, so I understand not quite seeing the pit wall, but this is a whole new level of calamity. You see him gassing up, trying to minimize time lost, and gets on the brakes to not run over Isaacs and right into the wall there. The right front goes, and park here and just tow. So this is an intergalactic emergency there for Jonathan Thier.
On pit road from it as well, and he's going to end up losing the lead lap here as a result. 43 to go. Let's take a break. You're watching McConey Entertainment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, McConey.
With the launch of McConey Entertainment and McConey Competizone alongside McConey's Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeySetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at McConey Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to Pocono, where the field, I think some people didn't realize it was going to be green because they nearly stacked up. They were able to avoid crashing at least. We are single file for now.
And Jeff McConey leads the field after the restart off pit road, and to the green flag through 1 and 2 there, and able to hang on to lead for now. But here comes Jerry Isaac. Here's a replay of the initial, or not the initial start, but the most recent restart. We're going to see the stack ups here big time.
Yeah, at least 3 people on the radio came up, I think, and said, we're green, we're green. Yeah, everyone was caught sleeping.
It's an unusual cycle of events there, and it's allowed Jeff McConey to pull away for a better part half a lap. And now the field has caught him, and no crazy gaps this time. Might take a couple of laps for a second or third pack to form if it does form, but you have every lead lap car for the most part all in this big battle here.
Got around 40 laps to go in this one after that near stack up. As they sort themselves back together. Pittman amongst those moving with Ogle to the inside, first to make a move in the main pack.
And they got the numbers now to make a move if they want to. McConey trying to block both lanes, not able to do so. Here comes Ogle sneaking by on the inside. Isaac's quick to push McConey, trying to get back up front. But Ogle has no help on that bottom yet. Ryan Pittman finally picks a lane and about gets put into that grass there, going through turn 3.
That was a little bit nerve-wracking yet again. But still able to settle back down. Third of the race to go, just like that. And we are expecting possibly one more set of stops if it comes down to it for caution flags. The track temperature just keeps kicking up though.
That definitely caused that tire wear to become maybe a little more extreme than previously in the race. And also have to watch that right rear. You know, these are 600 or so horsepower cars, and you can definitely feel the right rear start to fall off after a number of laps. I'm sure these guys will deal with that when that time comes. But right now, McConey dealing with trying to block these guys behind him, all trying to get to the lead. Look at Alan Wanamaker right there in this battle. 5th car on the outside or in this lead line here. So was kind of up front that second pack, kind of been quietly there all night. And after this caution, has a chance to go and get a win here.
A lot more cars in this main group with the caution. Mark Fish, he's looking to make up ground. It's worth noting his 42 car had been in the pack 8 seconds back from everybody else. Prior to the caution flag, he had dropped as far back as 17th.
You definitely see a couple of these guys all trying to make up some lost time, some lost ground. Last drivers were in that second pack and really couldn't do anything to go chase for the lead. All they could settle for was 6. Now, you know, not only can they get top 5, top 3, but they can go for a win here. And, you know, we're now in the final 1/3 of this race.
So they continue to work around here. So now, how do you plot and plan things? Because obviously, this race running out of time to plot and plan things.
You see a lot of these guys all spent, you know, the past 80 laps. They're learning, you know, recognizing patterns, recognizing trends. They know what works, what doesn't work at this point. Now they've got to put together a perfect 38-lap run here and make the most of it. See Bianchi there on the bottom, getting some momentum down there. He had a little bit of help. He got Kenneth Allen and Todd Liston. Fish gets sent up the track, sends Pittman up the track behind them. 3 wide now. As you got Scholler and Piggly Wiggins, you have Lyden trying to squeeze on through, and Pittman's going to lose a ton of time here, a ton of spots.
Ton of wiggling around there as a result. But still, they work around the racetrack. Top 2 are the only one single file. Fish moving topside.
See, these guys are really trying to sort it out here. The numbers currently in the middle or lower group. McConey leads the top with the Isaacs. They have the distance advantage. They're further ahead of the track. You know, the leaders are, but the numbers are on that inside. So if they can get worked together, formed up together, they can definitely make a run at this battle for the lead.
Yeah, now they continue to sort themselves. Looking like Bianchi wants to finally get himself to the front. He is pushing hard.
And Brian Bianchi, he needs the points. He needs them bad. You know, came into the night 30 or 40 off of Thomas Ogle, and using the Latford system there, it's not a point of position. It's, you know, 4 or 5 points sometimes of position. So, you know, if we can get 2 or 3 spots in front, that's definitely going to help dig into that points advantage that Thomas Ogle has. And, you know, final stage of the schedule here, final couple of races, and Bianchi needs to start making up points every couple of races. Doesn't have to have a great race, just has to have an okay stretch of races here.
Just okay. is the key word. Just okay. But with 36 to go, a lot can happen here as they work their way on the outside line for the defensive maneuvers for the lead. Ogle still pushing hard for the bottom line.
Now Isaacs there still pushing McConey. Looks to the bottom now. Late send by Isaacs. McConey goes down to block, able to block. Great defense there by McConey as Isaacs saw a split second, saw an opening, and well, he went for it. Right back to the back bumper. McConey not trying to make a move, not trying to pick his nose out. He's got Thomas Ogle to his inside now. Hard charging the inside. Not going to be able to get to McConey's inside before the corner, but might be able to steal second here from Isaacs. He's going to do so.
Liking what I'm seeing from Bianchi, in particular this run. He is up to third. Ogle, he runs his way up to the lead again with the help of Bianchi.
Yeah, Thomas Ogle, huge run on the bottom for him. He's got Brian Bianchi in tow. Your 2 points, they're just working together here trying to win this race. They don't want to let the new kid on the block, Jeff McConey, steal it from them. 36 laps to go here, and Thomas Ogle and Brian Bianchi out front, almost into the wall. Bianchi goes, able to keep it straight though.
Gotta keep it clean, but it's now 3 wide. Liston nearly shoved up the track. Isaacs, they're able to hold on to it with Mark Fish now leading the inside. McConey, for the first time in a while, shuffled outside the top 2 or so. Here's a look from the New Jersey-based driver.
Yeah, we've seen a fair share of excitement from the front bumper, back bumper, side by side of the 42. And so far, hanging on to the second spot is Bianchi to his direct outside. He got one driver behind him. That's Todd Liston as well. So Jeff McConey starting to fall back a little bit. Almost outside. It actually is outside the podium spot right now. Right behind Brian Bianchi. I'm sure he'd love to push Bianchi up here and go win this thing. So 34 laps to go here when they cross the line. And, you know, we're finally in the final stages of this race.
Yeah, closing third, or closing quarter, really, you could say. A few laps time. How much does it weigh on your head as this now closes down?
Well, Brian Bianchi doesn't really think anything of it. Had an opportunity for a lead. He's going to steal it from Thomas Ogle. But, I mean, you know you still have a handful of laps left, so you want to almost, though, be making moves. You know, if you're a Brian Bianchi who hasn't been up front all night, you want to make a move and see what works, and right there it works great for him. And now McConey going to follow suit and take the lead from Bianchi. So you're making notes, you're seeing what works, what doesn't. You're trying to save that for, you know, when you get a caution maybe within 5-6 to go, or just sitting there and fourth or fifth or 5-6 to go. How do you can pass, you know, 1 car a lap? As Jeff McConey's going to pass 3 cars in 1 lap and take the lead here.
Not bad to say the very least now as they go 3 wide again. Ogle forced up to the top. Isaacs wanting to gain his momentum back. Fish wants to gain the lead himself. Oh, and again, Liston getting squished.
Now Liston has to kind of bobble a little bit there. Keep it going. He's going to get split 3 wide here. Here comes Kenneth D. Allen. Here comes Thomas Ogle. Allen gets right back in line behind him. He's going to push Liston for a split second. And battles are heating up all inside this top 10. McConey leads. Here comes Mark Fish for the first time tonight, trying to fry the bigger fish. And that's Jerry from McConey to the lead for a split second. Mark Fish has got Jerry Isaacs pushing him. So Isaacs has gone from McConey to the Fish band here and hop and ship.
Yeah, now Fish pushed up. Now here comes the run inside again. Isaacs has found his way back to the point.
Now Isaacs actually now looking inside of Fish here. Fish gets a push by McConey. And McConey's going to have to settle for a second in line right now.
The way they're driving, these drivers don't want to settle as much as they want to push. And right now, Liston again making contact.
Liston definitely eager to get up front, doesn't matter what cost. And right now, he's in that second car on the inside. He's got Mark Fish to his outside. But if he can go get Jerry Isaac, he can go lead this thing. And I think everyone just wants to lead a couple laps. Bout has contact for third. Mark Fisher is pushing Timothy Allen down the track, still pushing him down the track, both drivers able to kind of pull away from each other, but they were kind of magnified there for a split second. I thought they were about to both put each other in a wall, and we haven't had a big one yet tonight. It's been mainly 2 or 3 car wrecks, but the way these guys are racing, their entire top 12 are all within one pack. You see the 3-4 wide battle, and a couple drivers in the wall, actually.
Yeah, they're getting a little bit too aggressive, you could argue here, Braden.
I'm definitely wouldn't want to be the guy behind this pack like Randy Schuler is right now, 12th in the pack and the last driver in this lead pack. Because if a wreck happens, I'm going to have basically nowhere to go.
Speaking of which, Moore in the wall. Got to back out, though, as Lloyd Moore to the back of the draft as a result of that wall contact.
Yeah, see Randy Schuler start to make his way up around listing of these guys. So some drivers definitely making the most of it. Lloyd Moore, too, riding on board for a split second with him. Got Schuler to his inside, actually. You see the runs they're able to get. It's nothing they can really do with them without help pushing them behind and the draft in front. So there's a bit of a second pack we talked about it. It would take a while. Chris Hayslip, Gavin Adams, Brian Johnson, and then the Hilbert, Stephen, and Thomas are a part of that second pack, about 5 seconds behind these guys.
Let's look at Hayslip. You're mentioning him. He has struggled to maintain the main pack all night. Adams, Brian Johnson, Stephen Hilbert's been back here all race with Thomas Hilbert. Rich Blake in the lap traffic also is back here.
Yeah, definitely not a bad strategy. I mean, they're not going to go win the race from back here, but you have a 10-car pile-up in the pack in front of you, you're in a great position.
And right now, that positioning looking all solid. Main pack out and Wanamaker 3. Here we go, a crash, caution.
Another driver on its side, it's Todd Liston. No surprise there, it's been pushing the limit all night. I think unfortunately this time it's an innocent bystander. And this is gonna take out, you know, a lot of heavy hitters here. Jeffrey McConey with a little bit of damage up here. It doesn't seem to be too bad. Let's get a replay, see what happens. Been going turn 3 here. Team 2 or 3 wide down the back straightaway. Setting up for turn 2. They're going to come out of turn 2, basically 3 wide. And that's Mark Fish on the bottom there in the 42. He's going to be able to pull away from McConey. That's going to allow then Alan Wallmaker, the 1, get 3 wide here with McConey. So McConey's 3 wide bottom. He's got Jerry Isaac right there, 51 in front of him. Todd Liston, they're outside. McConey's going to send it in deep here. Just make contact with the Isaacs, and all those drivers go off the track and into the wall. And grip flip there for Liston, lands back on all 4s. And well, that's one of our bigger wrecks of the night here with just under 30 laps to go.
And that, once again, will change a lot here as a result. Let's take a look again.
Just a very deep sin by Jeff, and I don't think Isaacs knows that they're 3 wide. I mean, Jeff can't really turn down onto Allen there, and just a lot of drivers all fighting for the same real estate. So Jeff going to come down pit lane, able to actually make it down pit lane, catch the lead pack.
And that gives meatball flags to Liston and Isaacs. And not a surprise, the leader's down pit road. And this should just about take him to the end.
I mean, at this point, it's going to be a race of just survival, as you've seen. See if Jeff is able to get back out on track. I think the thing he needs to do right now, guys, doesn't have a meatball flag. Hastings, Isaacs, and Liston currently drivers that do have a meatball. So no mandatory repairs, none for Jeff. So just get on track and stay on the lead lap.
Apologies over the radio as Thomas Ogle takes the lead. Kenneth Allen, Mark Fish, Jeffrey Leiden, Ryan Pittman, your top 5 off of pit road. Let's take a break. More coverage coming up. You're watching Pocono Entertainment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Pocono.
With the launch of Pocono Entertainment and Pocono Competizone alongside Pocono's setup shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeySetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Pocono Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage of YesterYear. The Race of Champions continues tonight with Thomas Ogle in the race lead here in YesterYear competition. Biggest incident of the race, taking several contenders out. Isaac's officially out of the race. Lowell Jewell has officially also parked it with this caution flag. But now, big shakeups up front as a result of the incident. Should be good to go on fuel the rest of the way, Braden.
Yeah, going to be the final run here to the finish, and it's going to be definitely a box match at this point. Got some drivers up front that haven't been up front all night with a decent shot of gun to win this thing, but they got to get around Thomas Ogle first.
Coming up to the restart. Green flag is out, back underway. Several at the back still catching up to the field. The field itself pretty spread apart behind Ogle to start at least.
Now Ogle able to get a decent jump for the most part. About 3 cars there covered Kenneth Allen and Mark Fish. As Fish trying to get second maybe from Allen, gets the run instead through turn 1 on the back straightaway. Everyone for the most part still single file.
Yeah, there's a chance we see an upset winner with how things are going here tonight, Braden. Ogle's been good, but there have been a lot of people who have been mid-pack all season who have thrived with this package tonight. Allen trying to become the next of them.
Someone who's really doing good right now. I didn't think he would. Jeff McConey back on track after being involved in that wreck. On the lead lap, in the lead pack, and in the draft. Actually, doesn't seem to really have any mishandling of that 03 machine. So Jeff McConey might be able to drive his way back up front here. Oh, huge wreck up front. Thomas Ogle around upside down, barrel rolling across the front straightaway here. And just like that, this has changed dramatically.
Caution flag is out and your race lead just imploded. Allen going for the lead, Thomas Ogle destroyed. And with 25 to go, we have championship implications.
That's huge for the championship as Thomas Ogle not going to be able to continue on. Brian Bianchi at this point going to make up a ton of ground. Watching Kenneth Allen here in the 81. And then Thomas Ogle is outside in the 13. Both drivers start to kind of wash into each other, and Ogle gets flung up the track. Barrel rolls for half a flip or so through the final corner. and absolutely destruction there on the entry of the front stretch here.
Stephen Hobart also picked up a meatball flag from the incident. So 3 different drivers getting themselves demolished. Here's Ogle's view.
See if we can get on board too eventually with Thomas Ogle. It looks like Ogle comes down a split second, and then Allen comes up a hair as well. So I don't think either driver expected the other driver to make a move. And just like that, you have, you have 2 drivers that have been going for the lead all night long. A lot of ton of laps Thomas Ogle has, and just like that, he's not going to finish any better than 16th or 17th. It's going to be a wild ride. We're going to listen to it.
And that hard impact could
Jeff
shake.
McCone does a good job. I'm trying to interrupt you, but you watch Jeff McCone here on the inside as well. Narrowly avoids the pit attenuator and a very slow and damaged Thomas Ogle. So McConey's hopes as well still alive.
Did come down, McConey did, for more damage per believe, but here is his vlog.
It's a great job of getting the brakes. Realizes the wreck happening early. Has to make a decision right here. He sees Ogle coming down the track, and thankfully Ogle able to get it going straight. But for a second, I thought Ogle was definitely going to come down and force McConey into either the pit lane or to the pit wall. And so McConey's hopes lie. As well as a couple other drivers all doing a great job of getting around that wreck. And then we see McConey pulling out now with a lot better looking car than previously. So 24 laps to go currently, and McConey, I feel like, has as good a shot as anyone right now.
Ogle and Allen officially out of the race. They've both left the facility. And with the Latford system, Braden, that might open the door for the championship conversation. We haven't touched upon the title fight too much, so it hasn't stayed relevant much of the night. Until now, Bianchi in a prime position to gain a lot of points here.
Yeah, Brian just needs to finish this race right now. I mean, he can go out here and win, and that would definitely slingshot him hugely in front of Thomas Ogle. But if he goes out here and wrecks, in 3 laps, and only finishes 2 spots, he's going to lose out on a ton of potential points. So Bianchi right now came into this race second in points and needs to just finish. That's always hoping for a top, 3, a top 5 would be great. Top 10 would be pretty good, but seeing that checkered flag in 24 laps time is all Brian Bianchi needs to focus on right here, right now.
And now we really see what's going to happen. Remember the chance of underdog runners up at the front? Chances of upsets? Well, guess what? Your chance of upsets just increased tenfold. 1 to go on the pace lights. Anybody's race now at this point.
It really is. And we're looking at the guys up front: Mark Fish, Lloyd Moore, Jeffrey Lydon, Ryan Pittman, Brian Bianchi. I mean, we've seen speed from these drivers all race and some all season long, but not really consistently race winning pace. And not only do they have a chance to go out here and win a race, but it's the biggest race of the year for these guys.
To reset your top 5, it's Fish, it's Lloyd Moore, it's Lydon, it's Pittman, it's Bianchi, now in the 5th spot. 15 are still in the lead lap last time by. Who's your pick at this point, Braden? Because we're running tight on cars.
Yes, we are. Looking, recently, Lloyd Moore found victory lane back on August 20th at Thompson for his first win of the season. He knows how to get it done. Thompson, a lot different track than Pocono here. But he knows how to find victory lane, so it's hard to go against him. Ryan Pittman found victory lane at Myrtle Beach a couple weeks back too, August 27th. So between those two, I'm going to have to go with Lloyd Moore low.
So we get ready for the restart. How do you play this restart, knowing how Fish has been up front?
I mean, we've seen him have speed. He hasn't really been as dominant as Ogle or McConey was, but now he's got no competition compared to that. It seems pretty stout. He just needs someone to work with him. I think he's going to do a good job as pace cars pull us off here, and we're coming up to lap 100 in a couple miles.
Green flag is out, back on her way. Great timing by Lloyd Moore. Moore looking for the lead.
Looks inside, doesn't have any help though. Second goes inside, loses the draft off of Mark Fish, so have to get right back in line. It's Wait, makes contact, shoves Fish up the track for a split second, bobbled by both the cars, and that was almost ugly.
Got very darty for a second as Leiden now joins in on the conversation. He's going to push Lloyd Moore to the front.
And Lloyd Moore has got some help, and he's bringing it with him. Jeffrey Leiden, the Pig Big Machine, we've seen a lot of speed out of him. Just not a whole lot of consistency, a lot of DNFs for this 39 machine, trying to win on the biggest stage right here tonight.
They work their way up front. Now it's Fish playing back defensively. There goes Leiden going backwards. So 21 laps to plan. Is this Pittman's time to shine?
I mean, he's been quiet all night long. He's been up front, but he's been quiet. So I think definitely waiting now is a great opportunity, great strategy for Ryan Pittman, that 08 blue machine there in third as Lloyd Moore for the lead.
He's going for it. Lloyd Moore looking for the lead for what would be his second lead lap. He's now up front and Pittman follows suit.
Ryan Pittman in line of the 08. Mark Fish there on the outside has no help in front or behind. You got Brian Bianchi third on the inside, same as Jeffrey Leiden fourth on the inside. So Mark Fish is just stranded out there like a fish out of water.
Plotting and planning continuing up front here. What goes to your mind now, knowing it's been starting to get caution, precaution, and they're getting more and more weepy.
They definitely get a little piggly wiggly, that's for sure, a little loosey goosey, and the track temp is up a little bit. The sun's starting to come out a little bit. And I don't know if these drivers are starting to overdrive the cars. They're looking 3 wide almost for the lead. Here comes Mark Fish in the middle, Ryan Pittman down low, Lloyd Moore clear by only a quarter of a car length, but not for long. Pittman, deep dive on the bottom.
Another deep send by Pittman. Another clear. Pittman for the first time in a while to the lead. Bianchi, he's next up though, wants his shot to lead for the first time.
Yeah, Brian Bianchi trying to get up front. We talked about him. He needs to finish. It doesn't really matter where he finishes, but he needs to finish. Right now, if he wrecked out, he'd only be, 2 spots in front of Thomas Ogle. So he just needs to make up as many spots as he can right now. And the best way to do that is see that checkered flag. But a win would do numbers for the championship run here for Brian Bianchi.
It'd be huge. Knows having a huge run at this point. Islip is now up in the main pack to 8th for the first time. Brian Johnson's game now from 25th to 10th. They go side by side for second as well. Randy Schuler, we haven't mentioned him much all day, is in 5th.
They're actually going to fall back to about 6th, 7th right now, but he's working the outside pretty well to make up moves on the straightaway. Pig the Wiggy machine, that's Leiden, bobbles loosey-goosey, about takes out Lloyd Moore, able to keep it collected. And then look at the points. Now, we were talking about Brian Bianchi in the run he's going to make on Thomas Ogle, but Lloyd Moore is only 47 points behind Ogle. Ryan Pittman's 104, so that's going to put Bianchi and Lloyd Moore, if they're able to finish up front here, probably in front of Ogle, and put Ryan Pittman right back in that picture as well. So this championship battle just took a complete 180 with just 4 races left after this one.
Oh, more contact nearly. They're starting to get the elbows out too aggressively is the big thing. There's still less than 20 minutes to work with them in this race.
Then look at the lead pack, about 11 cars deep right now, all 11 on the lead lap. First car out is Jeff McConey, not able to quite keep up with the draft like he would like, but still in that 12th position and kind of by himself. He's got Rich Blake, who's 2 laps down with him. You see them kind of in the corner of the screen there, but 11 cars, all the pretty good shot, going for the win, and Lloyd Moore trying to go for the lead. Look below the yellow line for a split second, now to the outside, crossover move by Lloyd Moore.
Side by side again for the race lead. And all this is with Leiden getting shuffled back, Fish has been shuffled back. A lot of people hitting that apron. We've seen a lot of people destabilized by that apron today.
I mean, some drivers definitely going down there and trying to see if they can make something happen or make something work down there. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think they're liking it either. But you see maybe others use it more to their advantage. Bianchi trying to use the draft as an advantage, though, off Pittman. Pittman's leader at the line. But let me tell you, these laps are ticking down, and they're ticking down pretty quickly here.
Ticking down like a clock, almost, with how it's gone tonight. But right now, some people running out of time. Fish, he's going the wrong way and quickly.
Yeah, you gotta kind of get your thing together here. You gotta figure out what you want to do. Mark Fish restarted from the lead. His most recent restart all the way back down to fifth. Right now about to lose fifth though to Randy Schuler, who's put himself in prime position, prime real estate here. You can say to get put in a spot. Buckets turn. Bianchi contact with Mark Fish. Fish still bobbling. He's going to lose a ton of spots here.
So Bianchi back to the top line. All this is allowing side by side again for the race lead to build up. This main pack, by the way, oh, trouble! Randy Schuler goes around. No caution. He stopped though. He's able to get it back going without a caution.
Yeah, above the minimum speed as well, so no caution should come out. He had some help from Brian Johnson. And heartbreak for Randy Schuler. No damage, but you'll need a caution to get back up front at this point.
Yeah, that was not a pretty slide and not in a good spot.
Heartbreak for sure.
Let's see where. Oh, he got help.
Big
Johnson.
wreck in the front. Huge wreck up front. Multiple drivers involved in this one. Multiple drivers knocking the wheels off of it. Brian Bianchi stuck in the wall. Oh, heartbreak for Bianchi. We talked about he just needs to finish, and looks like he's going to have trouble doing so.
Caution flag is out. 16 to go, and another incident for championship implications.
Get a replay. He's going through turn 2. Looks like Bianchi's going to get run over from behind. He runs up on Pittman here in the 08. So rushing to 41. Brian Johnson, just after he spins Randy Schuler, he's going to drive right into the back bumper of Bianchi. Cleans out both of their clocks, and they're going to stack up at that point. Chris Hayes has been quietly running there all night in the top 15. Mark Fish as well, contact for him. A couple drivers, Thomas Hilbert, great wreck avoidance, but Gavin Adams in the wall. So multiple drivers here with damage, and heavy damage late in this one. This is going to put Jeff McConey right back in this battle for the lead.
So, under caution, do you keep the track position or do you try and roll the dice on the tires? We ran about 13, 14 laps.
But you got to remember, you know, in the league here, we sit here in the YesterYear Racing League, we, for the most part,
Alan Wanamaker's in the lead, my goodness,
yeah,
too.
that's why I was just looking at Alan Wanamaker in the lead, but we restart with lapped cars in between the lead lap cars. So even though there might only be 12 cars on the lead lap, you're going to have the drivers that are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 laps down with damage, a part of that battle. That through all that, Alan Wanamaker to the point.
So this is the first time he's led all night long. With that situation, Mark Fish has now been amongst those two to get disqualified. There is an incident limit, and apparently Fish reached it.
17 incident points, that's an incident point for the season. And our 21, I'm sorry, there's a penalty after 17 incident points, and then after 21 incident points, you get disqualified. So Mark Fish, I mean, been just kind of in everyone else's mess, it seems, all season long. Brian Bianchi pit lane to get service. He's able to get back out on track. He needs to be able to finish right now. No meatball flag. He took a pretty heavy hit to the inside wall. He'd still make up a ton of points on Ogle. But he's got to be able to at least make up some ground here if he can, because he's going to get passed. If he stays in the pit lane, he's probably going to get passed by at least Rich Blake and maybe Stephen Hilbert and Jonathan Thier. So that gap or the gains won't be as high as they would have been. But let me tell you, Alan Wanamaker in the lead, I don't think he expected this one.
Yeah, he had been amongst those getting the elbows out prior to the caution flag.
But looking back to, we mentioned previously how this race is a part, I guess not part, but kind of a preliminary showing of the International Race of Champions Series being ran next year by the YesterYear staff led by Alan Wanamaker. But basically, those criteria for that league, we mentioned, the leagues that make up the YesterYear Bootleg Racing League, Old Fashions Racing League, Red Light Racing League, VLS, and a couple other small and independent teams or drivers, I guess, as well, make up the YesterYear Racing League. And any winners this year from those respective leagues will be eligible, as well as champions and the winner of this race. So if you're able to go out here and win this race, I mean, you're locked into that one. Now, Alan said when he announced the league, he goes, yes, even myself, I have to either be a champion or win a race to qualify for it, even though I run the league. So Alan, I'm sure, would love to get a huge sigh of relief off his back. Only 4 races left in the YesterYear racing schedule.
So when we get back racing, we'll have about 12 laps to go. Are running short on cars, 13 on the lead lap with the caution. A lot of drivers have had to pick up repairs. Remember, we had about 40 laps ago, 20 still running, give or take.
Yeah, definitely losing cars and losing cars fast, especially lead lap cars. So only 13 right now on the lead lap, and Todd Liston, who's been on his side once already, is one of those drivers on the lead lap. Brian Bianchi gets back out on track, able to stay on the lead lap as well. So big point tonight, still in position, in contention for Brian Bianchi. But let me tell you, Alan Wanamaker is trying to play spoiler here tonight.
Definitely be an upset if it happens. Bianchi, by the way, is the last on the lead lap with that incident, and might very well likely not catch the field. He is still fair ways back behind everybody because of all the damage had to get repaired.
So that might not be in contention to win it, but in contention to finish, and that's why it's important. Jeff McConaughey there in 6. Hilbert, you have talked about him all night. He's been pretty clean. He's got a great looking car. It's in one piece. He's in great contention to win it.
iRacing pace truck is off. Green flag is out, 12 laps to go. Wanamaker looking to pull an upset as one lap driver moves out of the way. Ryan Pittman looks for a lineup with Lloyd Moore.
Yeah, they got Lloyd Moore, Pittman, and Alan Wanamaker, your podium, all in a single file line. We're in the final stages, finally the final stage of this one. At this point, definitely gonna get the elbows out and start leaning on one another big time here.
Moore the first to duck out amongst the front runners. Slide in a little bit behind, but not close enough to help. Pittman preferring to help Wanamaker.
You see the outside, Jeffrey Leiden back there trying to pick a lane, but Lloyd Moore stuck on the outside right now, has no help in front, no help out back at all. Just trying to use momentum to make the pass, he's not able to get it done so far.
Jeff Pocono back at the top 5, by the way. He's fixed basically all the damage. Mind you, he's amongst those who pit a couple cautions ago to get a little bit more off cycle to fix all the repairs. Now he's getting some draft off Moore.
You see these drivers definitely starting to lean on one another, maybe a little bit. See the bumps are really starting to get intense. Lloyd Moore to the lead, Alan Wanamaker to his inside, and Shaw Pittman basically saved Wanamaker's chances here. Was very aggressive with the tandem drafting down the front straightaway. That's what you got to do when you're coming to 10 laps to go.
Lloyd Moore, bad bump from McConaughey. Moore able to hold on to it. That was right off the nerf bar, as that was a scary bump.
That Lloyd changed his lane, shifted a little bit real quick there. McConaughey wasn't able to really react. He's already prepared to make contact and kind of sent Lloyd more up the track for a split second, but McConaughey right back in line. Actually now looking inside of Lloyd Moore. So Jeffrey McConaughey, their biggest lap leader of the night. Once again, a lot of drivers thought he was out of it, but trying to play a spoiler.
Down to 10 laps to go. Final 10 minutes or so of racing action. We've ran more than 2 hours of laps tonight here on Pocono Entertainment. The race of champions comes down to these drivers.
These drivers all definitely starting to lean on each other big time here. See how aggressive they're getting with the pushing. Not quite side by side, too much for the lead, but they're side by side behind the lead. Lloyd Moore, Jeffrey McConaughey, and Thomas Hilber on the outside trying to make some magic happen. Look who's in the inside lane. That's Randy Schuler. Got spun by Brian Johnson literally half a lap before that previous big wreck. So able to avoid that wreck big time, and now in prime position to go and steal this one.
Our poke for more as he tried to push McConaughey forward. Randy Schuler, that caution previous, saving his hopes from the incident. He's now inside the top 5 after spinning to the bottom without a caution in his situation. 9 laps to go, and everybody preferring the bottom.
See, the numbers on the bottom definitely a lot better, pushing a lot better numbers. Quantity and quality there on the bottom. Actually, Randy Schuler going to fall back a little bit. It's going to help the outside form a little bit together. It's right now Jeffrey McConaughey and Lloyd Moore, but Thomas Hilbert trying to get in line. Randy Schuler now to the outside as well to help push this train of 4 cars.
Coming up to 8 laps to go. Ticking down like a clock as said on the lap counter. Ticking down with anticipation. The calm before the storm is one of the common phrases on super speedways, Braden. The calm before the storm is a good term here. McConaughey trying to bring the storm for second.
See Jeffrey McConaughey working the outside, no help quite yet. Using the momentum though, tries to get around Pittman. He's doing a great job of it. Mike clear, going clear Pittman. Now looking for the lead outside of Alan Wallmaker to the front. For the first time in a handful of laps, Jeffrey McConaughey.
Inside Wanamaker, outside McConaughey. Contact and they crash. Caution flag is out. Wanamaker hooked. Him and McConaughey become glued as they crash out of turn 1.
Heartbreak there. McConaughey was out of this race for so long. Finally gets back in it just to get involved in another wreck in the next corner. Heartbreak for Alan Wallmaker. See the damage on that number 1 machine. Both front tires dragging big time, and just like that, a lot of damage for Thomas Hilbert as well. So we got 3 or 4 drivers, all with great chances of winning this one, are out of it.
And that also, yet again, collects the 61. And obviously, this changes a lot.
And it changes more than just a lot. I mean, it changes not only championship implications for Allen and whatnot, but, you know, berth for the Racing Champion Series, you know, a great point run for Hilbert and Allen, and Jeffrey McConaughey has been the dominant car all night long.
He tried to go for it. Was there air? Some chatter there might have been. Not sure what the angle, but it is just very hard contact for all 3 involved.
We're talking, you know, 7, 8 laps to go. I mean, they're definitely going to lean on one another. I think there was still a little bit of an air bubble there, and it just kind of got sucked together. And that's what, you know, made the initial contact. And after that initial contact happens, that's all you can really be along for at that point is the ride.
Here's a look. Let's take a look for the left front. Take a look. There was a bubble, yes. They in fact clipped through each other.
I said that there was a split second. There was that little air bubble there, and basically it forces, you know, Wanamaker off the track at that point. And at that point, the air bubble gets filled because of the pulling of forces together at that point. Unfortunately, there's nothing we do. As Hilbert, trouble with the steering, actually gets puts himself in the wall. So see Wanamaker back there as well. Looks like the Lightning McQueen team when he just paved a new road, and the road's completely bumped and not really put together well. That's what that left front looks like it's doing right now, and it's, I'm sure, a great view for Al riding on board there with that one, straight into the wall. No brakes, no steering, no problem for Alan. That's what the tow truck's for.
Let's take a break. Final restart of the race coming up. You're watching Pocono Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Pocono.
With the launch of Pocono Entertainment and Pocono Competizone alongside Pocono Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeySetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Pocono Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Pocono Entertainment. Coming up to the final restart. The next caution brings us past the point of no return. Here for YesterYear Racing, the Race of Champions here at Pocono. It's been a lengthy night, and Ryan Pittman, Lloyd Moore, Jeffrey Leiden, Randy Schuler, and Gavin Adams are your top 5. Some upset drivers in there, some other drivers looking to get great points hauls if they can close the job here.
That big points opportunity for a lot of drivers, Ryan Pittman, Lloyd Moore included. But you always want to go for that win. You know, Brian Bianchi as well was able to finish this race currently in that 6th spot. Should inherit the championship lead depending on where Lloyd Moore finishes. So we have 11 drivers all left on the lead lap. It's all going to really come down. Actually, 10 drivers, except for McConey, still technically going to do that, but in pit lane getting service. The 10 drivers left to duke it out. Remember, no green, white checkers either, so a caution at this point will presumably end the race.
Point no return once the green flag flies here, likely. Pittman, Moore, line in the top 3. Can anybody find a way around Pittman? Let's find out. Lloyd Moore jumps it. Timed it up to gild up a run. Got through the gears poorly, though. He didn't get the run he wanted after getting a good run up behind Pittman.
Now, Lloyd Moore knew what's at stake here. Caution at this point. The race is over. You got to go for the lead. You can't wait for it at all. You got to go when you can. Jeffrey Leiden currently in 2nd outside of Lloyd Moore. Falls back to 3rd. He's got help though behind him. That's Randy Schuler.
Pittman clipped the apron a little bit. Here comes Moore. 3.5 laps to go. Leiden forced up to the high side. Has some help though. Schuler trying to push him up top shelf.
Staggered 3 wide for the lead. Lighting up top. Lloyd Moore in the middle, and Ryan Pittman hangs on the bottom. He's got Gavin Adams sliding through for second inside of Lloyd Moore. Now behind Pittman for the lead. Gavin Adams out of nowhere.
Adams had been on the struggle bus all night long. He's been in the back most of the night. Now he's propelled to the front at the right time for the win. He goes up the track instead. Bianchi goes bottom. Lloyd Moore goes middle. 3 to go.
Contact with Moore and Bianchi. They're about turns Lloyd Moore, or about turns Bianchi into the pit wall. Both drivers able to keep it going straight. Bianchi chooses the bottom of the pushes Pittman and goes for the yellow line for a split second, trying to get the tight corner here. Bianchi trying to go for the win.
He had been one of the drivers spun around on the inside back in 13th a few cautions ago. Good recovery from Bianchi. 3 wide now for third spot. Lloyd Moore does not want to wait. He wants to go places. Adams shuffled back with the 3 wide again.
Lloyd Moore is trying to go somewhere. It's not the Culpeppers Bakery, that's for sure. That's Brian Bianchi trying to get a sweet piece of victory here, currently in second, right behind Ryan Pittman. Pittman sliding all over the track, trying to play defense, but coming to 2 laps to go, 5 miles to go this time by.
Top 2 starting to break away a little bit. Leiden and company still not yet building momentum to close the gap. Now flaring out is Bianchi. He tries to go from the second, third line. Now diamonds it down. Pittman still hugs the bottom.
Brian Bianchi right there in line. Might be waiting for the last lap. Might not get the opportunity if he waits too long, though. Jeffrey Leiden in line behind Bianchi. Look outside. Moves to the outside. He doesn't have help quite yet, but here comes Lloyd Moore to push Leiden.
Lap and a half to go. Now Bianchi. He gets himself boxed in for a moment. Leiden tries top line. Doesn't work for now. Now Pittman. He looks to try and hug the bottom still for turn 3. Bianchi again looks for a diamond line coming to the white.
Pittman and Bianchi have both found victory lane this season. Not Randy Schuler, not Jeffrey Leiden, though. To Bianchi and Pittman looking for a win. A white flag out in the air. Pittman's going to get there.
Final time around for the Race of Champions. Who's going to be able to pick up the crown jewel? Pittman blocking all the way to the bottom for turn 1. Makes it stick.
The diamond line for the 5th place driver. That's Jeffrey Leiden trying to get the run. Runs the high side. Not able to do anything down the back
look
straightaway.
at this! Bianchi cuts to the apron to peel Pittman off the bottom. Side by side with the aggressive cut. Now Schuler, he tries to drive inside. He looks for second.
No help yet for Schuler, looking below that line, looking for the high side momentum. He's going to have to set him up in the final corner here, but it's all Brian Bianchi.
Schuler outside, Bianchi inside. Schuler trying to make it work the long way through turn 3. A squeeze down on Bianchi. Side by side. An edge down. A push from behind. Checker flag, Bianchi gets it with the help of Adams.
Gavin Adams got a huge run off of turn number 3 there. Elected not to go inside, elected to push Brian Bianchi and push him to victory lane. So let me tell you, Brian Bianchi better share this cupcake and this cake here with Gavin Adams, because without that, I think Randy Schuler had him at the line.
In the end, the finish 17 1,000ths of a second. For the 3rd time this season, Bianchi gets himself into victory lane. He does so now in the crown jewel for YesterYear Racing and its inaugural running here at Pocono. That means an automatic bid into that IROC series next year too, Braden.
Yeah, Brian Bianchi's 3rd win of the season for him. First win came back at Richmond, 2nd win back at Stafford, and he's got a thing for these bigger tracks, but I don't think he quite expected to have a thing for the biggest track in them all.
Bianchi taking his time for the celebration. By the way, he led just 1 lap tonight. It was the final one, the most important.
Burn it down, Brian Bianchi. Maybe got the traction control. Oh, hard hit to the inside wall. That's one way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, that was an attempt.
That was
not a good one.
That was something. I'll give him that.
Let's take a break. Post-race coverage coming up. You're watching Maconie Entertainment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconie.
With the launch of Maconie Entertainment and Maconie Competizone alongside Maconie Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconieSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconie Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to coverage of yesteryear here on Maconie Entertainment, where the race of champions comes down to a wild finish. 17 1/1000ths of a second the difference. Let's take a look at your unofficial race results tonight. As in the end, 9 finish on the lead lap. Bianchi takes the W over Randy Schuler. Schuler went from 20th to 2nd in the very end. Gavin Adams had been in the back most of the race. He charged up late to 3rd. That helped him push Bianchi. Brian Pittman, Lloyd Moore, your top 5. Leiden, Hazlett, Childs, Liston, your lead lappers. Thomas Hilbert, after some hard licks, finished in 10th.
And Brian Johnson, first driver to not finish inside the top 10, actually disqualified. Still should finish in that 11th spot there. Rich Blake 2 laps down as well. He's going to finish there in 12th. Jeffrey Maconie comes back, takes the lead, and unfortunately, late race incident for him into tonight. A couple laps shy of the finish. He's going to finish 13th, blowing his yesteryear racing debut. Leads the most laps of any driver, that's 50. Stephen Hilbert there in 14th, Alan Wildmaker there in 15th, Jonathan Thier in 16th, Mark Fish in 17th, Bruce Pearson, 18th, Thomas Ogle there in 19th, their points leader coming into the night. He will not be the points leader leaving the night. Timothy Allen there in 20th, Jerry Isaac 21st, Lord Jewell 22nd, John Hastings 23rd, Joshua Buckley in 24th. And get this, Dwayne Hopkins, your second last place finisher, has the fastest lap of the night. He's going to finish 25th, and then Brian Neff there in 26th.
That's what John Bottom at the run over here tonight in this one. Your top 3. Get ready to stand on by here. Let's talk to them 3-2-1 style tonight. Gavin Adams finished off in 3rd spot tonight. Gavin, you joined the conversation late. You get yourself on the podium. How does it feel?
Actually feels really good. I was looking forward to this race, and I like drafting, and it's just been a crazy race at the front, the back, and the podium.
The entire podium led 1 lap combined today, interesting enough. And you're in the back most of the race. In fact, you're in the 3rd pack much of the race. Talk to us through your approach for this race, and in turn, how you in turn found yourself in the main pack late.
Yeah, so I just intended to go ahead and stay with the main pack as much as possible. Qualified close to the front, but then got some damage, got to the back, and just a few of us had to just go ahead and draft and push. And luckily, with some cautions, and once I was actually with the pack, I could normally keep up with them, and just using those pit stops to go ahead and fix the damage.
With that being said, still a few more races to go on the season for YesterYear this campaign. Here's Zot says the next race goes to North Wilkesboro.
Yep, looking forward to that one too.
Quite simple on the viewpoint there. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I mean, to Alan and to YesterYear Racing, this has been a great introduction to the modifieds and SK modifieds, and just all the work that he's done, and then obviously to all the other leagues that have had some great racers participate into this, and also to the broadcasters. Appreciate what you guys do too.
Congratulations once again on the top three. Gavin Adams. Thanks. Getting third spot. Randy Schuler is with Braden Lester.
That Randy, you had a pretty quiet night. You found yourself getting spin there late in the race, and I think it credited to you surviving the wreck not more than a lap later, and you bring it home second night in the drag race for the win. Tell us about your race.
Well, it took me quite a while to try to figure these things out. I've never done a race like this, but yeah, just learned, try to find some stable guys to stay behind and figure out how to get up front.
You were in that top 10-ish battle for a good portion of that second half of the race once you did figure it out. So what were some of the tricks that you had to kind of learn on the fly that you wouldn't really use in or expect in a normal super speedway race?
Let's see here. I mean, on the top, it just seemed if you didn't have 3 or 4 cars with you, you definitely weren't going to go forward. And I felt more comfortable on the top, but if you don't have numbers, you're not going to go anywhere. So just try to pick your way through there and see where you go.
Yeah, but anybody want to thank tonight and route to the second place run here?
I want to thank everybody that had something to do with putting this event on. This was really cool. It really seems like you guys put a lot of heart and soul into this, and I really enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys keep it going for quite a while.
And with that being said, too, tonight was your YesterYear Racing debut. You have 4 more races left in the season. Will we see you in any more races this season?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the schedule and see where everything plays out.
Well, we hope we talk to you soon, and we hope we see you soon. Thank you for coming out and running. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Again, that's Randy Schuler in second spot tonight. Brian Bianchi comes away with the win tonight here in the Race of Champions. Brian, you're the first winner in the history of this crown jewel for YesterYear. How are you feeling after a long 300 miles?
Wow, what a win. I was just saying in the chat, I don't think I took a breath or blinked for the last 3 laps.
What was the approach to the final restart to get yourself this victory?
I wanted to stay low, and I knew Ryan was going to stay low. That's how he was running all race. I wasn't sure I could get him, so I went a little high going into 1, and coming off, I had a run, and man, he ran me all the way down to the wall. But hey, last lap, that was awesome.
So on that note, how are you feeling knowing, too, you, with this win, get yourself something for the wall, but also you're officially locked into the new IROC series in the winter time?
Yeah, good feeling. Alan's put together a pretty good thing here and keeps adding to it. So this is very, very cool. I'm excited. I get to run. I guess there's now 15 guys in the IROC series, so that should be a good series as well.
One more thing, a big night on the points too. Thomas Ogle having a crash, you getting the win. Likely going to be your points leader. Now the approach for the next race, knowing you likely get the points lead.
I got to keep doing what I'm doing. I can't worry too much about the points, but I also got to be cautious. Thomas and I keep going back and forth with the points lead. He has it, I have it, he has it. So, I mean, I think this is really going to come down to the wire.
Anyone want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, as always, Colony Tire and Culpeper's Bakery and Cafe, Christina's Custom Cuts. I miss my partner, Rex Hoyle, tonight. He does all our paints and really helps me get ready for all these races. So he should be back next week, but we'll be ready.
Congratulations once again on the win tonight.
Thank you.
Brian Bianchi comes away with the W here tonight in YesterYear and gets it done in photo finish fashion. The next race is at North Wilkesboro, September the 24th, 8 p.m. the start time. That should be a fun one, Braden. Your thoughts on tonight?
Well, we just talked to Bianchi there, and said it's going to come down to the wire. No better place than try and short it out and build a lead or lose that lead than North Wilkesboro. Definitely going to be one of the more attrition-filled races, as if tonight wasn't already an attrition-filled race. But it's back to good old classic short track racing as we round out the season. A couple more races have to go after that one.
It's going to be the home stretch. Again, September 24th, 8 o'clock, North Wilkesboro for one of the final races of the season. 4 to go after tonight to be able to determine a champion for YesterYear. On that note, though, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you to the YesterYear Racing Administration team led by Alan Wanamaker for the work to bring this racing league to life. Calling the action tonight by Justin Prince on separated Laster. DJ Lyon was in producing as well. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's racing action. Hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for the work and bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Pocono Entertainment. We'll see you next time.